everybody. Welcome to Brad Sumrock's 6 Figures in 6 Months. We're here, yes. Thank you all for your patience. I'm so excited to be here tonight. We had a little bit of, technology trying to get up on Facebook Live here, so we are used to this by now, right? Things happening and having to pivot and, do something different. And we have a wonderful team here. They were on the pressure with the clocks and the eyeballs and the feelings of, just knowing that everybody's out there waiting for us, and they were able to make it happen. I just sat here and just told them they're awesome. They got this. I believe in them. And so we figured out a way to get the link up for YouTube. So for all the general admission tickets out there, there's a link to YouTube to go ahead and click that so you can get going. And I think they put that in the Facebook page. And so we'll be hoping you guys can get connected here. And then I know there's a lot of the VIPs already backstage. We just want to make sure your cameras are on and be ready for this amazing night. We have a lot going on here. I'm super excited. I love the hearts and want to keep seeing those beautiful smiling faces. So it's going to take a lot of positive energy to create this 6 figures in 6 months. It's super exciting. And we have a great lineup tonight with you. So we have, obviously, Brad Sumrock in the house. And we have Tom Wheelwright, our Tax Zero hero. So he's amazing, and I love that he loves tax strategy, and he's always staying up on the newest tax laws so that he could help us transition when we need to be aware of things out in the tax world there. So that's super exciting. We're so happy to have him. And Robert Helms, of course, amazing guy, and he always likes to go bigger, faster, and through syndications. And yeah, so we're so super excited to have Robert with us as well. And then, of course, our special guest, Emmett Smith, the rock star. We have an interview with Brad and Emmett tonight for you, which is a very special thing, and I'm so honored to be a part of this tonight with you guys. So if you guys are excited, I want to hear some excitement. Blow it up in the wherever you can, actually. I'm not even sure. I'm not the best technology person here, so wherever you can, let everybody know you're excited, where you're from. If this is your first class with us ever, or if you've been with us for a while, we want to kind of hear you guys and get connected with each other, so go ahead and do that now. All right. And how are we looking out there on YouTube? I'm not even sure how all that works there. You guys golden out there, and if there's a way for you guys to chat with us, let us know. Super, super excited. I'm so glad we have a technology team here that makes all this stuff happen for us. So, all right, well, we have a great lineup, and we're going to squeeze it all in the next 3 hours, well, a little less than 3 hours. And then we're going to do a special intimate conversation backstage after 8 o'clock. So for those of you that have the VIP ticket holders, you know how those go. If you haven't been with us backstage before, there's a lot of intimate questions that happen. We don't even know, it's not scripted, and so it's a pretty powerful thing. It kind of happens like at the dinner table. But we'll be with you in our living room backstage. So please join us if you haven't already gotten a VIP ticket and you'd like to join us. I think Jay or someone back there on our team is going to be able to post that link so they could be with us all the way through the end and in those magical moments in our backstage with everyone there. So without further ado, I'd like to bring on Brad. But first, before I do, we want to bring on the energy, right? Because we've got several hours together, guys. We are talking 6 figures in 6 months. What? Yes, it's possible. Believe it. And we are going to show you how. But we need some energy and some power. So let's go. Let's stand up for a second, shake it all out, and get ready to bring on Brad Sumrock, everybody.
All right.
Woo!
Go.
Let's go.
Let's go, everybody. Let's go now. Yeah, I'm excited. How about you guys? Who's excited? Let's blow it up. VIPs, come on, blow up the Zoom chat. I can see you. I can see you, Denise. I can see you, Jeff. I can see you, gosh, Rhea. I can see Dennis. I can see Krista Lee. I can see Tom. Let's blow it up in the chat if you're excited. Let me hear from you. Come on, let me see those comments. And everybody watching on, it was supposed to be Facebook Live, but honestly, I'm not sure, is it YouTube or wherever we're at right now? YouTube. Gosh, who knows? I think we're on YouTube. So, hey, this is really cool. I'm really, really excited. I wish you could see where we actually are right now. We're actually in my living room in Dallas, Texas with our technology team. We've done these events so many times, and yet, you know, like Krista Lee said, it's a team sport to do something like this. And what seems simple, like having a setup like this and putting it on Facebook Live, who knows what happened? We'll troubleshoot it later, but look, we do our best and we forget the rest. So hey, let me hear from you. Why are you here? Obviously, you're here because you want to learn how to do 6 figures in 6 months. That's the name of this masterclass. And as Jen talk to you about what's going to happen over the next 3 hours. Yeah, we're going to be together for 3 hours, okay? So I'm going to shorten up my session a little bit, by the way. But my session is really, I'm going to go deep down the rabbit hole in the next 45 minutes of precisely what it takes to do 6 figures in 6 months by buying large apartment buildings, okay? And my question to you is, why are you here? Now, I would love to interact with some of you personally on this, but here's the deal. We're going to do that backstage at the end with the VIPs. So look, there's usually 3 types of people that really resonate with what it is that I do, which is for the past 20 years, buying large apartment buildings. So let me ask you this. Who's in this group up on the screen over here? Could we see the screen, by the way? I want to make sure we're showing the screen. Why are you here? I want to make sure we can see that screen behind me. Okay. So number 1, how many of you have a job and would like to get out of your job? So let me hear from you. Give me a thumbs up or blow up the chat room on the Zoom and see, look, this was me. I don't have not 1 degree, but 2. I studied hard, I got good grades, I went to college, I did everything right that I thought I was supposed to be doing. But I found myself going from one job to the next job, going from one unfulfilled position to the next unfulfilled position, going from one 9 to 5 or 8 to 6 to another 8 to 6. Throughout that 14-year journey, which was 14 years before I got into real estate, and then I quit 3 years after that 14-year time period. So throughout that entire 17-year journey, I worked for 5 different companies. I was actually fired once. I was laid off once. I was told I didn't work hard enough, didn't come in early enough, didn't stay late enough. But I looked at my bosses and I'm like, I don't want the life that you have. I want to have more income, more freedom, more time. I want to have my money working for me and not me working for my money. And so actually it was when I was preparing for my 3rd degree that I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And how many of you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki? Or the better question is, how many of you didn't read Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Because virtually everybody I know that is in real estate or that wants to be in real estate has read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And if you haven't, I strongly recommend that you read that. So listen, if you have a job, and you want out of a job in say a 2 to 5 year period, which is entirely realistic, you're in the right place. Number 2, how many of you are already investing in real estate? Maybe you're doing notes or single family rentals or flipping homes. Anybody doing that? Maybe you're doing some small multi-residential properties, duplexes, 4plexes, 6plexes. Look, I have great news for you. You're in the right place, because if you did start off small, the logical next step for you is to do bigger deals faster. And I'm going to talk about, in the context of doing 6 figures in 6 months, one of the steps is to do bigger deals. You got to do bigger deals. And then when Robert Helms is on tonight, he's going to really talk about doing bigger deals faster through a syndication model. Okay, so if you're already doing real estate, I'm going to encourage you to go bigger. And number 3, I know there's a lot of people out there that make gazillions of dollars, you know, high 6 figures. There's even 7-figure income earners out there. And the challenge with that is, if you have earned income with no tax deductions, you're paying 40, 50, or even 60% of your money to the government.
depending on the state that you live in. Okay, so if you think about ESBI and Rich Dad, employee, self-employed, business owner, investor, employees pay an upper tax bracket of 40%. Well, it's 39.6, but let's just say 40. But self-employed people, doctors, accountants, people that run their own companies where they're doing all the work, they're paying that 40% tax, but also another 15% for self-employment tax. So they're paying like 55, 60% of their money to the government. So how many of you, by the way, tax day was just a few days ago. April 18th was tax day. How many people out there, and put it in whatever platform you're on. We have the Zoom room here for the VIPs, and we have the regular YouTube room. How many of you paid tax on April 18th? How many of you sent in a check to the government? Give me a show of hands, give me a thumbs up. Not that you're excited about it, but how many of you actually paid taxes? Look, yeah, Kevin, the vast majority of us paid too much in taxes. That's right, Kevin, the vast majority of us paid too much in taxes. Now the question is, how many people would love to legally pay less in taxes? Anybody besides me? So here's the deal. Since 2018, me and my beautiful bride, we have paid zero in tax in 2018, 2019, 2020, and yes, again, in tax year 2021, zero in tax on over, I'm not bragging, but on over $8 million of net income from all of our apartments and all of our businesses that we own and run. Over $8 million in net profit, and yet we pay zero tax because we live on a very small amount of that $8 million, and we reinvest everything else that we make back into buildings. And so Tom is going to talk tonight about taxes, because to get six figures in 6 months, you really need to understand how to legally reduce your taxes by doing what the government wants you to do. And one of those things is investing in apartments and providing housing to families. Okay? So I believe that whether you're in category 1, 2, or 3 on the slide deck, you're in the right place. Now, I'd like to give you a little history about me really quick. Some of you have heard me speak before, and I see a lot of familiar faces on the VIP room there. And some of you, maybe it's your first time here. Maybe you responded to an email or a Facebook ad or something like that. So here's the deal with me. I told you my background, you know, studied hard, got good grades, went to college. See, neither my mother nor my father have a college degree. And so they impressed upon me how important it was to work hard and save my money and go to college. And so I did that. And in today's dollars, my 4-year degree cost me about $350,000. My MBA cost me another $90,000 in today's dollars. And what did that get me? It got me $120,000 a year job, $10,000 a month. 17 years working 8 to 5 for somebody else, helping them achieve their dreams, helping them achieve their company outcomes. But I never achieved my own. And I was fired once, I was laid off once, and I was frustrated all the way up until I was about 35. And then look, I found another way, and that way is investing in apartments. And so that's what I'm here to talk to you about. I was able to quit my job after only 62 doors. This beautiful picture here on the slide was my first property. It was a 32-unit building. That property put $4,000 to $5,000 a month, like clockwork, into my bank account. This property on the slide was my second property. It was right around the corner from the first one. So now I have like $9,000 to $10,000 a month coming in like clockwork. So with 62 units, I was able to literally replace my $10,000 a month of earned income with $10,000 a month of investment income and walk away from my job. My third deal, which isn't pictured here, was a 250 unit deal. In that 250 unit deal, I didn't have any more money to invest in it. And so this is when I learned how to syndicate deals. And I was able to raise $2 million from other people. I put very little of my own money into that deal. Very, very little, like 25 grand I raised $2 million from other people, and I was able to buy a 250 unit property as deal number 3. And that's when I never looked back and started syndicating bigger deals. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, because that's what it's going to take to earn 6 figures in 6 months or less, is to do bigger deals. So just to recap where I started 20 years ago to where I'm at today, I'm currently in about 22 deals, over 5,000 units in 8 different markets in the United States. Our cash flow from these properties alone is over $1.5 million. I've sold 19 deals over the past 20 years. That's over 3,400 units, returned hundreds of millions of dollars back to our investors. And also part of that obviously went to me and my wife. So look, here's some of the deals that we bought that enabled us to pay no tax in 2018, 2019, 2020, and also 2021. So now I'm going to dive into how you could realistically be on a path to earn 6 figures in 6 months, because that's why we're all here, right? That's why we're all here. So who's excited about this? Jeff, I see you on the VIP room. How you doing out there, Jeff? I see Rhea. I see some of my team members on the Sunrock team. I see Dennis out there, 3 single-family homes. I see Kevin passing on taxes. That's right. I see Abby in the VIP room. I see Brandon Jenkins in the VIP room. How you guys doing? So let's go. Let me hit this button. What do you think of this? All right. So look, there's really 4 keys, just 4 simple concepts that you need to understand that's going to enable you to get to 6 figures in 6 months. And one is you need to do bigger deals. Now, bigger is relative, right? So what I want you to think about here is doing 60 units and up. 60, not 16, not 6, but 60 units and up. Okay, so that's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is you got to be on the side of the deal that's putting the deal together. So the people that put the deal together, it could either be an individual or it could be a small group of individuals. That's commonly referred to as the general partner, or GP. You might also hear the term deal sponsor, lead investor, deal syndicator, deal promoter. So I'm going to call it GP, general partner. Now you see on the slide, there's a GP or there's a co-GP. So to me, when you have more than one general partner, more than one individual, now we have a small team of co-GPs. So how many people know the guy that does this, 10X? How many people know who I'm talking about? That's right, my buddy Grant Cardone. See, Grant is on the GP team. Grant and his team at Cardone Capital are on the side of the deal that's putting the deals together. And so they're 10Xing their returns. They're 10Xing their money. Now, the people that invest with Grant, they're called limited partners, or LPs. They're also referred to as passive investors. Now, the passive investors are making a great return, but it ain't 10X. It's more like 1.8X or 2X. Okay? So look, let me level with you. If you could get a 2X return by doing virtually nothing as a passive investor, I'm all for that. And I invest passively too in a lot of deals. But the way my wealth has grown exponentially over the last decade, the way my mentees' wealth has grown exponentially over the last several years that they've been doing this, is by being on the side of the deal that's putting the deals together. So that's rule number 2, is you need to be on the GP team. Okay, and I'm going to explain that. Now, rule number 3 is you want to follow a proven process. Okay, my gosh, there's so many people out there. There's so much awareness now in multifamily investing, apartment investing, because of people like Grant Cardone, because of people like me that have an educational platform. So there's so much awareness about it. But the challenge is that there's a lot of people struggling, And there's a lot of people that can do deals and raise the money, but then they can't operate the deals and they don't have a solid business plan. And there are some people that are spinning their wheels for months and months and months and even years trying to get their first deal. I mean, I met a guy in Austin last night, Monday night, 2 nights ago in Austin, Texas. And he told me he was making so many offers and getting into best and finals, but just couldn't get his first deal. And he shared with me his challenges in piecing all the pieces of the puzzle together. And here's the deal. Here's what I told him. I'm like, look, you don't know what you don't know. And so he's not following a proven process, okay? He's just kind of out there listening to blogs and getting in, Facebook groups and getting advice from 20 or 30 different people. And so he doesn't have a clear path forward. I had a conversation with him in 5 minutes that I think really moved the needle for him. We'll see where that goes. But I think I was able to, make a fundamental shift in 1 or 2 things that he's doing and not doing that could help him get into a deal. So you got to follow a proven process, okay? And number 4, you got to do it now, okay? If you're really serious about earning 6 figures in 6 months, you can't wait until June, July, August, wait for the crash and then get started. You're not here just to get educated. You're here to get educated so you can take action. So how many people are on board with this? Are you with me? Are we here to get educated, to have knowledge? No. Who's here to get educated, to take freaking action, and let's get going? Who's here to ready to get going? Because that's what it's going to take. That's right, Brandon. That's what it's going to take. That's right, Kevin. That's what it's going to take, is to take action. So I'm going to cover 7 reasons why you need to take action right now, okay? So let's dive right into this. There's 4 reasons why bigger deals are better. Number 1, they're easier to buy. The lenders like them better. They're not qualifying you based on your personal income and credit. They're loaning against the property. And the lenders right now are loaning between, on the low end, 65%, on a high end, 80% of the purchase price. And so lenders love loaning on large multifamily buildings, okay? And the interest rates are still very, very competitive. So that's number 1. Number 2, they're easier to manage, okay? Professional property management companies love managing large properties, okay? Anything 60 units and up, in fact, they would rather run a 150 unit property than a 60. And they would rather run a 300 unit property than 150. Because the more units that you manage under one roof, the better economies of scale that you have, the better managers and maintenance people that management company could attract, because people on those career paths, they would rather manage a 200 unit deal than a 20 unit deal, if you understand what I'm saying. So you're just not going to be able to find good, talented people to run these super small deals under 60 units. It's true, okay? So they're easier to buy, they're easier to manage. Number 3, you help more people. So Robert Kiyosaki, one of my early mentors, has a famous quote that says, if you own one single family rental, you're selfish. If you own a 100-unit apartment building, you're more generous, because you're providing clean and safe and functional housing for 100 families as opposed to just one. Now, I'm not out here calling anybody that owns a few units selfish, but hopefully you understand the point that you're serving more people by owning more doors, owning more units, okay? And number 4, you're also serving yourself, okay? You're serving yourself financially, you're serving your inner circle and those that you love financially, and you're able to impact strangers financially. Okay, me and my wife just came back from a 5-day trip to Mexico, where we sent 280 wheelchairs at $150 each to Mexico. And then we got to go down there with the Rotary clubs down in Guadalajara and actually hand them out and see how a $150 wheelchair changes not only the recipient's life, but their family, their brothers, sisters, parents, children of the person that needed that chair, that maybe didn't have a chair, that didn't have any mobility. And so the rule of thumb there is one wheelchair changes 10 lives. And so by shipping and distributing 280 wheelchairs, this is money that we donated, okay, because we have the means to do so. So we donated 280 wheelchairs. That's changing 2,800 lives of people that need it the most. So that's just an example of how thinking big and doing big actually allows you to help more people outside of just yourself, all right? So that's 4 reasons why bigger deals are better. So how many people are excited about doing bigger deals this year in 2022? Let me see you guys blow up the YouTube chat and here in the Zoom room with the VIPs. How many of you are excited about this? That's right, Brandon. Let's do it. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Is it Fuangu? Fuangu Nguyen. Yeah, Fuangu, let's go. I'm probably butchering your name, but I'm taking a risk and just putting myself out there. Let me know how that is, Fuangu. I don't know if that's right or wrong or close or not, but I see you. Fuangu Nguyen. Okay, so next topic. Look, there's 3 ways to invest in multifamily, and I do all 3 of these, by the way. So the first one that's outside of that red box is buying my own deals with my own money. Now this is how I started. My first 2 deals, the 30 and 32, I bought with my own money. The challenge is I quickly ran out of money because I'm funding the entire down payment myself. I'm limited on my own net worth, my own liquidity, so I'm limited by the loan size, and ultimately I'm limited on how many doors I could buy. So what I found, the better way to go to help more people, to help myself and my inner circle and my loved ones and strangers in the world, is to do bigger deals in a syndication model. So if you look at this red box, we have, and I already explained this, we have the general partnership team, which could be one person or a group of people. And then we have the passive investors, which are usually many, many, many passive investors, okay? So, and I'm going to talk about all 3 of these. But again, to do the 6 figures in 6 months, where do you need to be? This is my first quiz. Where do you need to be? How many people said on the GP team? Did anybody say that? If you said you need to be on the GP team, like Dennis, like Kevin in the VIP group, you're right. You need to be on the GP team. So check this out. So I want to ask my technical team, could everybody watch and see the slide deck? Okay, so this slide shows, let me think of the right word, qualitatively 3 ways to invest. So column number 1 is buying your own deal with your own money. Column number 2 is being a passive investor. And column number 3 is being on the GP team. Now, the assumption here is that we have $100,000 to invest. And so $100,000 in a lot of markets, you'll be lucky to get a 3-plex. So if you see under the left side of the column, it says own deal, you own your own deal, and that's 3 units. Well, we could just look at that. You have a higher down payment. It's a full recourse loan. It's personal. You have personal liability on that loan, and you have to qualify for that loan based on your personal income and credit. No professional management. You're not helping a lot of people. You're only helping 3 families. You're not helping any investors. You have no economies of scale. You're not earning any acquisition fees or asset management fees or construction management fees. The 3-unit property is not even based on income. It's based on comparative market analysis, and there's no sense in doing a cost segregation study because the property is so small. Now we look at the middle column being a passive investor. Now this is where the benefits start to multiply. As a passive investor, you're passive, okay? You're passive, but you're buying into ownership of a bigger deal. And so because you're buying in a piece of ownership of a bigger deal, you're getting more benefits. So you're benefiting from better leverage. You see on that bigger deal, you're only the team only has to put 25% down. It's going to be a non-recourse loan. You're not qualified based on your personal credit. There's no personal liability. You're buying into an asset that's going to be professionally managed, okay? And you're benefiting from buying into an actual multifamily building that's valued based on income, and you're going to get the tax benefits of a cost segregation study. So those are qualitatively the benefits of being a passive investor. But now if we look at the deal sponsor column, all the boxes are checked, okay? You get the lower down payment, the non-recourse financing, no personal liability on the debt, you're benefiting from professional management, you're helping all the investors because you're running the deal, okay? And you're helping all the residents at the property. The more units you have, the more investors you need, and the more families you're providing housing for. You're earning fees, and I'm going to drill down into those fees. And of course, your property is based on income, which means you could drive up the value by raising the rents and raising the occupancy and optimizing the expenses. And you're going to get the maximum tax benefits with cost segregation and depreciation. So this blue oval, this is definitely where you want to be. And so now the question is, what type of returns do you want to make? If you want a 1.5 to 2x your returns by doing virtually nothing, which is an amazing option, by the way, then you want to be a passive investor. But if you want to be like Mr. 10x, then you got to be on the GP team. So I'm going to show you exactly how this works. And before I do that, I want to just clarify exactly how we make money on deals. So all investors are going to make a return on their investment. Okay, so all equity investors. So an equity investor could be a limited partner or a general partner. Look, when I'm a general partner in my own deals, I invest money. Okay, so anybody that's investing money, whether they're a GP or an LP, they're getting cash flow and they're getting sales proceeds. Now I have an example slide coming up, and look, I'm just assuming a 10% cash return. It's going to vary between deal to deal, but for purposes of education, I'm assuming 10%. And then I'm assuming that we get a 50% return at the sale of the property. Okay, so let's say we hold it for 5 years. We'd get, in this model, 10% a year for 5 years. And then at the end of year 5, we would sell it, and we would get a 50% return on whatever our equity investment was. So in that example, if you invested $100,000, you'd get $10,000 a year in cash flow and then $50,000 at the sale of the property. So does that make sense? You all follow me on the math there? I'm looking at Jeff on the VIP group. Jeff, is that a pretty simple explanation? Jeff, I know you, brother. I know you're already doing this. You're probably a lot more advanced than some of the others out there. But yeah, man. But who else out there? Just give me a thumbs up if you're following the concepts. Are you following the concepts? Those of you in the Zoom room and the VIP, okay, good. I see Dennis, I see Abby, I see Brandon, okay, I see Kevin, okay, great. And all the equity investors are going to benefit from depreciation. So here's my rule of thumb. For every dollar you invest, you're going to get $1 of depreciation loss. And if you're in a 40% tax bracket, that's 40 cents in taxes saved. 40 cents potentially saved. Now, I'm not your CPA, and I can't tell you if you could benefit from that tax savings this year, but I can tell you that everybody is going to get a Schedule K-1, and if you invest $100,000 in a deal, you're going to get about $40,000 of depreciation allocated to you, okay? So that's the ways that you make money on your money, okay? And this is important, by the way, because we all want to make money while we sleep. Now, here's the ways we make money by being on the GP team, okay? And this is what I call fees for, quote, doing the work. And so only the general partners are going to get these fees. So general partners, they can take an acquisition fee, and I'm assuming in this example, they're going to take 1% of the purchase price. So on a $10 million deal, they could be paid $100,000 when the deal closes. They could be paid an asset management fee, which I'm assuming, again, maybe 2% of the gross monthly revenue that the property collects. And the big one is what is called carried interest. Carried interest is additional membership interest or ownership interest in the entity based on the value you're providing. And so the value you're providing is finding the deals, analyzing the deals, raising the equity, securing the debt, overseeing the property management company, overseeing the renovations. So for doing all those services, you deserve to take a piece of the additional piece of the membership interest in the company. Does that concept make sense? Let me just see if you guys are following me. Give me a thumbs up. Come on, everybody, let's go. Are you guys following me? All right. So this is how we get paid. So now I want to break it down in the same format as I did before. And this is a sample deal. Again, $100,000 invested 3 different ways. And this is, in the left column, it's a 3-unit deal, buying your own money. In the middle column, it's being a passive investor. And in the right column, it's being on the GP team. And so we could see everything in yellow exclusively is paid to the GP. So we can see in all 3 categories, everybody's making a return, a cash return on their money, and everybody's making a return of sale on their money. But only the GPs have the acquisition fee, the 20% additional split of cash flow, the asset management fee, and the 20% additional split of the sales proceeds. And so in this example, if you just look down at the bottom row, the GP team is making $900,000 on their $100,000 investment. Now look, I didn't mean to mislead you. That's not quite 10x. Okay, it's 9x. It's a 9x return. The passive investors are making $80,000. That's profit. Of course, in both cases, we're assuming you get your return back, okay? And so look, here's where the 10x comes in. 900,000 is like 11x of 80,000. So in this example, the passive investor is making 80 grand on their money on a $100,000 investment, but the general partners are making 900,000 on their money on their $100,000 investment in exchange for the time and energy and expertise and their resume and their net worth and liquidity in the work that they do. Now here's the other secret. For one person to do all the work of the GP could be a lot of work. But that's why in my system, in my proven process, we tend to have multiple people team up and be GPs. So for example, maybe one person is focused on raising the money, and maybe one person is focused on finding the deals and analyzing the deals, and maybe another person is focused on managing the management company and doing the rehab. And that's just a simple example. But does that make sense, everybody? How the GP team could be, the roles of the GP could be split, and so that 20% or 30% of the deal could be allocated between 2, 3, and 4 different people. So look, this is how, precisely how, and this is precisely what it takes to make 6 figures in 6 months, is by, number 1, doing bigger deals, number 2, being on the GP team. Now let me talk about number 3 and 4, which is following a proven process, okay, and the 7 reasons why you need to get started now. Now before I do that, I want to share with you this. Look, my journey of apartment investing has been 20 years of me figuring this stuff out. I started in 2002 with no previous real estate investing experience. Nada, zilch, zero. Okay? Now I've done over 8,500 units. I've literally spent millions of dollars, not just on my deals, but in seminars, mentorships, masterminds. And I'm still spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in mentorships and masterminds. Okay? And that's how I continue to grow, not incrementally, but exponentially. Okay? The other side of the coin is I've spent millions in costs, but we've made tens of millions in profits. And look, I'm not here to brag or compare or whatever, but when I started this business, after 17 years of corporate America, you could see on the slide deck, and I'm not going to read it out loud, but you could see on the slide deck where I was financially with my net worth and my wife. And after 2 decades of staying on track, not being distracted, being focused, being committed, investing in myself and my education and my ongoing mentorship and masterminds and surrounding myself with people 1, 2, and 3 levels above me, we've 100x'd our net worth, 100x'd our net worth in 20 years, from $700 to $70 million. And so look, I know what it takes to make money in this business, okay? So this is why the reason I shared this, by the way, and I know it's highly personal, is because I know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about following a proven process, okay? This is not something I've been doing and taking lightly. This is something that I have transferred exactly how I buy deals. I've been able to transfer this to thousands and thousands of people that have attended my training events, thousands of people. The results of me transferring this process is that over 500 apartment buildings have been purchased by people that have attended my trainings. And if we added up all those units, it's over 50,000 units. And it's over $5 billion of AUM, which is assets under management. $5 billion with a B, okay? And people that have followed my process, over 500 of them I have documented have increased their net worth by over $1 million. So here's my question. If they could do it, why can't you? Well, you can, but you just got to get on the path of following the proven process. And I'm telling you, the 4 steps to doing 6 figures in 6 months is to do bigger deals, 60 units and up. Okay, we talked about that. That's number 1. Number 2 is being on the GP team. Number 3 is learning my proven process. And number 4 is taking action now. Okay, so that's what I want to talk about before I wrap up this session. There's 7 powerful reasons to get started now. I have never seen a market like we're in right now. It's crazy for good reasons. Number 1, the rent growth, they're going through the roof. Okay, it used to be we had to buy a deal and do a lot of heavy improvements and lifting up the units and the amenities to raise the rents. It's single digits. And now our rents are going up double digits all over the country in the markets that we invest in. So the rent growths are at an all-time high and the vacancies are at an all-time low. Now here's the thing that you need to know. It hasn't always been this way. I've been doing this for 20 years and it's not always going to be this way. And so the time is now to take advantage of what's going on out there. Number 2, the prices of apartment buildings continue to go up. Now, the only better time to have gotten into this business than now was yesterday. But here's the deal. We can't go back into the past and reverse our decisions. And so I'm just going to level with you. Those of us that already own apartments right now, we're making gazillions of dollars and helping more people. But there's still time for you. So all the reports and projections and everything that I look at shows the rent growths are going to continue for the 12 to 24 month period to be above the industry average. The vacancies are going to continue to be below the industry average for the next 12 to 24 months. The prices are going to continue to increase for the next 24 months. The interest rates are still low, but everybody knows they're going to start creeping up. So again, getting in sooner and locking into these still historically low interest rates. I mean, look, my first deal 20 years ago, I got an interest rate of 6.375%. And now it's like 4%, which is up from 3% a year ago, but 4 is still really good, historically speaking. Okay, so don't let that wig you out that if you wait too long, you're going to miss the boat. Number 4, we all know that we're in an inflationary environment. The last number I saw was 8.64%, which means that every dollar you have in the bank is going down in value. It's losing purchasing power. So you want to get that money out of the bank and into assets that are going up by the rent. See, if the rent goes up 20, 30, 40%, the value of your property goes up. Ray Dalio said, and I was just at a mastermind with Ray Dalio, billionaire hedge fund manager, he said you need to be out of cash and you need to own the thing that's going up in value faster than the cash is going down in value. And the thing is multifamily housing, large multifamily housing. Okay? Number 5, there's massive availability of capital because of people like Grant Cardone, because of people like Brad Sumrock, because of people like Robert Kiyosaki that are passionate about educating others. There's never been more awareness about the opportunity to invest in apartments. And so when you find the deal, as long as you're part of a community of investors and leveraging other people, you'll be able to raise the money. Okay? So that's number 5. Number 6, there's a huge supply-demand imbalance. There is so much more demand for multifamily housing right now than there is supply. See, the thing is, this is not 2008. In 2008, my tenants, my residents that make $60,000 or $70,000 a year as a family of 4, they were buying that $250,000 starter home. They only needed a 600 credit score and they needed 0 money down. Now, that same family that makes $60,000 to $70,000 a year, they need 20% down. The median price of housing has gone up to $450,000. It's no longer $250,000, $275,000. Not in the markets that we invest in. Markets like Dallas, Tampa, Nashville, Phoenix, Las Vegas. Okay, the median price of housing is becoming, owning a home is becoming out of reach for the average family making $60,000 to $70,000 a year, which is our tenant base that we focus on. And so, and for the foreseeable future, if you look at all the development projects, they're developing projects that go up toward the sky, not out like this. These are the 1980s buildings and the 1990s buildings. They're garden style, 2 to 3 story buildings. The ones that go up like this with, 20, 30 stories, these are catering to people making $100,000 a year or more. So the people that are, living in the slightly older assets, we call the B class. B is in Brad. Okay, and they making $60,000, $70,000 a year as a family. There's limited supply of these buildings. And so the opportunity is now to get in and own these buildings. And number 7, we're in an environment where we get the maximum allowable depreciation that I've ever seen in my life. You see, at the end of 2017, the powers to be changed the tax laws, and the tax laws were changed in our favor. And by the end of 2022, some of those tax benefits, they're still going to be good, but they're going to start to phase out. And so any of you that invest in any capacity is a GP or a limited partner this calendar year, you're going to maximize your tax savings more than if you wait. Okay? So these are 7 powerful reasons to get started now. So here's the deal. I summarized what it takes to do 6 figures in 6 months. Okay? And I'll just go backwards. You got to get started now. Okay? You got to do bigger deals. Okay? You got to be on the GP team. Okay? So, and you got to follow a proven process. Now here's the deal. Here's what I want to challenge you guys. I know some of you in the VIP room, I don't know if tech team, could the VIPs all see each other? Put on your cameras. Could they all see each other in the Zoom room? Find somebody in the Zoom room, like each of you find one person and look at them or message them or call out their name. And here's the deal. One of you are going to take action and one of you are going to hesitate. That's just the way humanity is. I wish it weren't true. I wish all of you would take action. But here's the deal. The one of you that takes action, you're going to be so pleased a year from now. And the one of you that doesn't, I guarantee you're going to regret it. And so whether you're in the Zoom room or on YouTube, just take a moment and think about this. Those that take action are going to be so pleased because you're going to get the tax benefits, you're going to get the cash flow, you're going to get the upside. The facts demonstrate that. And those that hesitate, gosh, you'll still have time next year, but the opportunity just won't be as good. It's a fact, okay? So this is why I do my training events, okay? Because in my 3-day training event, I teach my proven process. I teach for 2.5 out of the 3 days. This is not a multi-speaker event where you're going to get 20 different speakers for 30 minutes each over 3 days and take tons of notes. But it's not a proven process. It's like this guy is dropping bombs of content, and then this guy over here, and this guy, and some of them are conflicting, and this guy says this, and this lady says that. And it's all great, but you got tons of notes, but you don't have a step-by-step process and plan. So what happens at my 3-day training event is I take you through a journey, first my personal journey from the corporate rat race to retirement, and I walk you through exactly how I did it, ABC 1, 2, 3, okay? So I'm going to walk you through how to find the deals, how to fund the deals, how to raise the money, how to get the debt, the steps involved to closing the deal, okay? And it's a proven process. Whether you're doing a 30-unit deal, a 100-unit deal, or a 300-unit deal, the steps are the same for finding, analyzing, and closing the deals. So that's what I'm going to walk you through. Now, here's the QR code. So go ahead and take a picture of that. Sumrock team, make sure that's up in the VIP room. Make sure it's on the YouTube page or Facebook or wherever we figured out how to broadcast this. This will take you to your ticket map, okay? And there's 3 different options for you. There's 3 different ticket options. So make sure everybody has that. And let me go through a couple of the details of the event before I bring up our next speaker for tonight. So number 1, this is me teaching for 3 days. Actually, it's me teaching for 2.5 days. And then I'm going to have a few guest speakers, not many, but a few. So number 1, we're going to learn from Tom Wheelwright, who's also on standby, and he's going to be joining us tonight. But Tom will actually be physically in Dallas, Texas, teaching an entire segment on, I don't 100% sure what he's going to teach, but in the past he's taught how just about anybody could save at least $30,000 in taxes, and that's what he's going to teach again. I hope so, but that's what I'm going to ask him to teach again, May 13th, 14th, and 15th. So that's one guest speaker. Number 2 is Robert Helms, who's also going to be on tonight. And Robert's going to teach how to syndicate large deals, which is very complementary to what I teach. And finally, the 3rd guest speaker in person in Dallas is none other than Emmett Smith, Hall of Famer, all-time leading NFL rusher, Dancing with the Stars winner, and now commercial real estate investor and service provider. And Emmett is also here tonight, and he'll be there in person in Dallas with us, okay? Next thing, again, I'm going to teach my proven process on finding, analyzing, funding, and closing deals, not any type of deal, but big deals, 60 units and up. You're going to be surrounded by hundreds of other people that are doing or want to be doing what you want to be doing. There's no better way to learn than take yourself out of your home, put yourself in a room full of other people that are at the same, or most of the people might be 1, 2, or 3 levels above you, but we're all going to be doing this and learning this together, okay? You could even meet some potential co-investors, passive investors, and GPs. And ultimately, you're going to make better investment decisions for you and your family. This is the only time of the year that I'm doing this type of event, May 13th, 14th, 15th in Dallas, Texas. There is a platinum option. And for those that invest a couple hundred more, like less than the cost of like a fine dinner and a fine bottle of wine, I'm going to give you a 4th day for free. Bonus day 4 for the platinum ticket members, on me, 100% free, just for the platinums, okay? So here's the price points, the investment levels. The platinum we're currently offering at $599. The general admission we're offering at $199. And then we have a virtual option because look, I get it. Some people can't travel. They're still not comfortable traveling. So you can watch this from your pajamas at home for 99 bucks, okay? So let's put up that QR code again, Jay, in the VIP room and on the YouTube page, and make sure everybody has the opportunity to grab their tickets. Now, I am putting in some time-sensitive bonuses. These are time-sensitive, and these are going to expire tomorrow at midnight, because look, those that take action deserve to be bonused, okay? First bonus to enable you to hit the ground running before May 13th is I'm going to gift you my $98 home study course. That's bonus number 1. Bonus number 2 is you have a money back guarantee. If you come to the event after the first day and for any reason you don't like it, it's not for you, you think I'm a jerk. I don't know how that would be possible, by the way, because you're still here. Gotcha. But anything that happens, first day, it's not for you, we'll give you your money back, no questions asked. Number 3, something I've never done before. I'm going to do 4 bonus mentoring sessions with you. These are not going to be delegated to my team. This is going to be me and all of you that secure this ticket. Any ticket level, virtual, general admission in person, or platinum. We're going to do 3 group mentoring sessions, me and you, before May 13th. And then we're going to do 1 afterwards to make sure you're implementing what you've learned and that I'm able to answer any questions that you have. So before I leave, I'm going to leave you with one final thought. I mentioned that I've invested millions in my own mentorship, masterminds, and ongoing professional development and self-education. One of those investments was a $100,000 mentorship that me and my wife both did with this gentleman, Grant Cardone, and I love this guy. Okay, the biggest thing I learned from Grant was that I was thinking too small. You see, I was doing $20 to $30 million deals in 2018 and 2019 and for the first half of 2020. And my first meeting with Grant, $100,000, by the way, bought me 4 one-hour sessions, one-on-one with Grant. That first session, he challenged me to go bigger. He said, Brad, you should be doing $50, $100 million deals. You're in your comfort zone. You've plateaued. I didn't want to realize it, but he was right. In 3 months after he challenged me to do a bigger deal, I became a co-GP in a $123 million deal where I was able to add value to somebody 2 levels above me. The guy I partnered with had 20,000 doors, and he needed help putting his team together. And I was able to come in and help with the loan, with the equity, with the strategy. And so if it wasn't for me thinking bigger, I might still be doing smaller deals. So here's my other guarantee. When you come to Dallas, I guarantee you, you will never think about doing small deals again. I guarantee that if you were thinking of doing 6 units, you're going to be doing 60. I guarantee that if you're thinking of doing 60 units, you're going to think 600. Okay? Your life will never be the same again after May 13th and 14th and 15th. Here's the QR code again. Grab your tickets now, put it in the VIP room, and let's get going. Who's excited about this and who's coming to Dallas? I'm going to see you guys. And we're going to bring up our next speaker, Tom Wheelwright. Is Tom waiting for us to come on? All right, guys, let's give it up for Tom. Tom is my tax zero hero. Because of Tom, me and my wife have paid 0 in taxes 4 years in a row. And Tom, I hope you stay on our team for the rest of my life and Jennifer's life and keep helping us pay 0 in taxes. And now let's help all these people online do the same thing. So Tom, are you ready to go?
Thank you, Brad. Thanks everyone. Thanks so much for being here. I just give a little bit about my background if you don't know me. I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah, so I got to spend 2 years as a missionary in France, learning how to get rejected in French, which was a great life lesson. From there, I spent a couple of years at the University of Utah to do my undergraduate in accounting, and another couple of years at the University of Texas to do my master's in tax. I went from there to Ernst & Young, one of the largest CPA firms in the world. Spent 7 years at Ernst & Young, including 3 in their national tax department in Washington, D.C. I spent 4 years as the in-house tax advisor for a Fortune 1000 company, 14 years as an adjunct professor in the Master's of Tax program at Arizona State University, 25 years building, buying, and selling CPA firms. 20 years I have spent traveling the world with Robert Kiyosaki of Rich Dad Poor Dad fame. And we have talked about debt and taxes all over the world on 6 continents. And for the last 5 years, been very focused on building a network of CPA firms in the US and Canada. And that is that's currently what we do primarily, is work with these other CPAs to train them how to do what I do. So, and what Brad gets to do, and Brad gets directly from me. I want you to think about something as we get started here. A couple of days ago was April 18th, which was tax day. And a lot of you filed your taxes on that day or just prior to that. I want you to think about how much tax that you paid on your income in 2020 or 2021. How much tax did you pay? In fact, you got to write this down. How much tax did you pay? Not what your refund was, not what you paid on April 18th. How much total tax did you pay? And there's two things I want you to think about. The first question is, do you know the answer to that? That's the very first question. Do you know the answer to how much tax you paid, income tax that you paid on your income for 2021? And if you did, then write that down. Then the next thing I want you to think about is, how would your life change if you didn't have to pay that tax? How would your life change if you didn't have to pay that tax? How much more could you invest? How much more? Brad talks about his personal development journey and how much $100,000 for Grant Cardone and other hundreds of thousands of dollars with Tony Robbins and others. How much of that could you do? How much bigger could you think if you had the tax money instead of the government having the tax money? Really think about that, and think about that tonight, because what we're going to do is May 12th through 14th. 13th through 15th. Got to get the dates right. When you're in Dallas, what I'm going to do when I'm talking to you is I'm going to actually tell you how to actually get to zero. So you can get to zero tax. I will tell you that our first goal with our clients is to get to 20% tax rate. So the maximum tax rate in the US is over 50% when you add in California or New York taxes. Add in state taxes. You can't ignore state taxes. No, but they don't let you. So if you're over 50%, you could get to 20%. That would be cutting your tax rate more than in half. That's our first goal. And we are, as a general rule, able to do that with every single client that's an entrepreneur that is willing to take the steps that we explain, and that I'll begin explaining with Brad in Dallas in May. The question is, okay, so then what do we do? Well, then we always ask our client, do you want to get to zero? Brad said, yes, I want zero. How many of you would like zero taxes? Think about that. Even type it in, write it in. How many would you like zero taxes? And to do it legally. Okay, we don't ever want to cheat. We're not tax protesters here. Okay, I want to be really clear about that. Let me throw out an idea to you. What if you could actually reduce your taxes to zero, doing exactly what the government wanted you to do? What if you could reduce your taxes by doing exactly what the government wants you to do? That is what I'm going to teach in May in Dallas. How to do what the government wants you to do, and by doing what the government wants you to do, not pay taxes. Here is the biggest mistake people make when it comes to taxes. They think the tax law is out to get me. The government just wants to collect as much as it can. That is not true. That is just false. I've been doing this business for over 40 years. That is not a true statement. Here's what the government says. The government says, okay, taxpayers, we're going to give you a choice. Now, how many of you like choices? I like choices. Okay, I'm a youngest of 6 children. Didn't always get choices as the youngest of 6 children. I like choices. And the government says you have a choice. You can be a silent partner with us, or you can be an active partner with us. Now, a silent partner does things like go to school, get a job, go to work, and invest in the stock market. That's what the silent partner does. And the government says to the silent partners, this is great. We're happy to take your money. In fact, we're going to take it. If you're a silent partner and you're an employee and you're making a good salary, we're going to take 40% in exchange for you being a silent partner and not having to do anything. All you have to do is file your tax return. That's it. And we're going to take 40%. On the other hand, if you're self-employed, some of you, many of you are entrepreneurs. By definition, you all have an entrepreneurial spirit, else you wouldn't be here in the first place. So I love that. And I love the entrepreneurial spirit. I love entrepreneurs. This is why I hang out with Brad and Jen, is because they're entrepreneurs. They're pure entrepreneurs. Grant Cardone, a pure entrepreneur. Robert Kiyosaki, a pure entrepreneur. I love the entrepreneurs because you think bigger, okay? You want more. Here's what happens though. If you're an entrepreneur, you're a self-employed and you're a silent partner, you pay up to 60% in tax. Think of the doctor. I'm going to give you a really good example, and that's your doctor. So your resident surgeon has their own practice. Okay, they go to the hospital, they do their work at the hospital, but they have their own practice. They're not an employee of the hospital. Because they're self-employed, not only do they pay the 40% that an employee would pay, but they also pay the 20% that the employer pays. So they're paying both the 40% of the employee and the 20% of the employer. Now, I don't know about you, but taking 60% of my hard-earned money is not something I'm okay with. On the other hand, some people are, and I know doctors that are just fine with that. They're happy to pay the 60%, just leave me alone, let me do my work. Okay, and that's what silent partners get. Now, let's kind of flip to the other side of this. What about those who are active partners? And I'm going to put them into two categories. And the two categories of active partners are big business owners and professional investors, what we call inside investors. Big business owners, those with a brand, those who are employing hundreds and even thousands of people. Here's what the government says. Well, look, one of our key goals here as a government is to provide jobs. We have two ways of doing that. We could provide government jobs. So we could hire somebody, pay them $100,000, and hopefully we would get $100,000 of services back, and that would be a fair exchange. Now, on top of that, by the way, we're going to take $30,000 of their salary as taxes. So they're really only going to get 70, but nevertheless, we're going to pay 100. We're going to get $100,000. We're going to get $100,000 back in value. The government could also say, well, wait a minute. What if we gave incentives? What if we encouraged people to create jobs? Now what we can do is we can say, business owner, you create jobs, which by the way, are going to pay us 40%, up to 40% in taxes. You create jobs. We'll let you pay less tax. We'll let you pay 20% in tax. And that's exactly what the government does. And by the way, not just in the United States, all over the world. I have literally traveled all over the world. And every country I've been to, the tax law works the same. In fact, I just wrote a book that's about to be released, and I'll talk about it more in May, about how we looked at 15 different countries and looked at their tax laws. And sure enough, they all give this benefit. If you create employment, if you're a big business and you create enough employment, we're going to tax you at a much lower rate. That's the exchange. You're active in doing what we want done, and we'll give you a lower rate. Now, let's think about this. How does that work for the government? Well, that works very well for the government because the government actually collects more money than they would and gets more value than if they actually went out and created the jobs themselves. Because not only do they not have to pay that $100,000 for the $100,000 job, that's what then the employer is paying that, and they're giving the employer a smaller tax benefit, or say even a 20% tax benefit. So instead of paying $100,000, they're paying $20,000 on that. And in exchange, what do they get? Well, they actually get the employer still pays tax, but guess what? The employee pays tax at the 40%. So, and you have multiple employees, you have more and more employees. So this is a really good deal for the government. It is a really good deal for the government. The numbers are amazing. Any investor would love to be in the government's shoes if you actually looked at the numbers, which I talk about in my book. So that's it. That's one way to do it. You can reduce your taxes to 20% simply by doing what the government wants done from a job standpoint. What about other things? What other things does the government want done? Well, let's think about it. Well, they need housing, right? They could go out and actually build housing, or they can actually create incentives for investors to build housing, like Brad and like you. They need food, so they could go out and grow their food, the food for the public, or the government could give incentives to farmers and ranchers to grow the food for the public. They could create energy. Many countries, by the way, they own the energy. They do their own drilling, all that kind of stuff. What we find, though, is that it's much cheaper for the government to incentivize the drilling, to incentivize the solar, to incentivize the wind energy, the renewable energy, than it is for the government to actually do it themselves. And so in the US and several other countries, what happens is that the government does not do the drilling, does not create the energy. What the government does is the government actually instead incentivizes private investors to do the drilling, to build the to put on the solar, to build the windmills. And there are other incentives as well. So when you think about it, whatever the government wants done, I guarantee you there's probably a tax incentive. What we're going to talk about in May is some of the specific tax incentives to the housing market. The US is still short, as I understand it, on housing by about 5 million units, which means that there's still an enormous need for building housing. Brad was mentioning that housing prices have gone up so much that there are people who even 2 years ago could have afforded to buy a house. They now must rent because they can't afford to buy a house. And it's not because the house payment is more than the rent. It's because they can't afford the down payment, which sometimes is as much as $100,000. And they don't have $100,000. They only have $5,000. So what do? They rent. Well, there's a lot of housing that's needed. And because of those housing needs, there are significant government incentives. And they aren't just, by the way, some of the ones, we're going to talk about some of those incentives, but there are lots and lots of tax incentives that most people aren't aware of. And those who are aware of the tax incentives, what they don't understand is that, because they're told a lot, well, yeah, but you don't get them if you're a private investor. You don't get them if you're a casual investor. Well, that's simply, they don't have the right tax advisor, okay? They don't have the right team. One of the things that is really clear and very clear to me, and I'm sure Brad will talk about, and he was mentioning earlier, right? When he was talking about the general partner share of the deal and how much the general partner share is 10 times, 10 or 11x what the investor's deal is. He said, well, what if we have other team members who share in those responsibilities? That's a team. So what happens is that the better your team is, the more money you make. And I've learned that over the years. I have a very large team now. I run 4 different businesses and have in those businesses 3 different partners and amazing teams in every one. And what happens is we tend to think as entrepreneurs, we're very industrious. I have a friend who says entrepreneurs are the only people in the world who will work twice as long to make half as much. And while that is fundamentally true, it doesn't mean we need to. In fact, what I find is just the opposite. The less I work, the more money I make. The less I work, the more money I make. So you want to write that down. The less I work, the more money I make. The question is how. Because a lot of times the question is not how. A lot of times the question is who. Who do I listen to? Am I listening to Wall Street or am I listening to Brad Sumrock? Am I listening to H&R Block or am I listening to a professional tax advisor? Who am I listening to? Who am I learning from? I find that the most the best investment we'll ever make is education. It is by far the best investment I've ever made. I have not spent nearly as much money as Brad on personal development. I like to think it's because I had a head start on Brad, but I don't think that's true. I think it's really that's where Brad has put his energies. And I think it's shown. I've watched Brad over the years, and just over the last few years, how much he has grown by putting his money and his time into that personal education, into that education and being with the right people. So let me just give you one little hint. I want to make sure you take something home really easily. So think about your home and think about how much money you spend on your home. Your mortgage interest is probably deductible up to at least a mortgage of $750,000, right? Your mortgage interest is probably deductible. Some of your taxes, mortgage, your real estate taxes may be deductible unless they're limited by the SALT cap. But what about your home itself? What about the maintenance? What about your landscaping? What about your utilities? What about all the other costs of your home? Are you getting a tax benefit for those? Well, guess what? As a professional real estate investor, you get tax benefits for your home. So these are expenses that you already have. We're not talking about more expenses. These are expenses you already have, and all you have to do is become a professional investor, and all of a sudden they're deductible. Because the question to always ask, and this is what you should always ask a tax advisor, and I would write this one down. Never ask the question, is this deductible? Always ask the question, how do I make this deductible? That is the question. Brad always comes back to me and he says, Tom, you always say, don't ask me if it's deductible. Tell me how to make it deductible. How do I get the result that I want? Once we change the question, we change the answer to that question. I will tell you, there is absolutely nothing that cannot be deductible. Absolutely nothing cannot be deductible. And I can prove that. And I'm going to finish with this story. Several years ago, Robert Kiyosaki and I were in Santiago, Chile. And Robert asked me at the beginning of the day, it was a 2-day event. This was the first of the beginning of the very first day. He said, Tom, I want you to tell them how to deduct a Bentley, because there was a Bentley on the side of the stage because they were the sponsors of the event. So I got up and I explained to the group, I said, here's how you deduct a Bentley. Here's the requirements. And at lunchtime, a tax attorney from Santiago came up to me and he said, Tom, great explanation. That I'm sure that works in the US. Unfortunately, we don't get to deduct cars here. They're considered a luxury item. They're not deductible. I said, well, thank you for letting me know. So that evening, I was mentioning this to Robert. And he says, okay, thanks. Next morning, he turns to me right before we get on stage and he says, Tom, today, I want you to show them how to legally deduct a Bentley in Chile. And I said, okay. I had no idea where we would go with this because I'd just been told by a reasonable source, somebody who is an expert in this, that they were not deductible. Robert and I got up with the intention that we were going to figure out a way to make a Bentley deductible in Chile. We came up, we actually went through the process of coming up with that on stage. We showed the audience how to deduct a Bentley in Chile. And after the event that day, the same tax attorney came up to me and he said, Tom, that would absolutely work here. I just would never have thought of it. So the key is, what else haven't you thought of? What else hasn't your tax preparer thought of? What else could you be doing that you haven't done? And the key is always going to be changing the people you surround yourself with, changing the education you receive. And that's why I'm a huge fan of Brad's education. Very, very big fan. I send lots of my clients to learn from Brad Sumrock. And the reason is simply because I think when it comes to multi-housing education, I really do think Brad is the best I've ever seen. So Brad, with that, I'm going to turn it back to you.
So one of the big takeaways that I continue to learn from Tom is you got to change your questions. Tom likes to say, to change your tax, you need to change your facts. Okay? And so Tom was the one that taught me this. When I first hired Tom, which was an investment, by the way, I talked about how me and Jen invest in our education, invest in our team, invest in mentors. Look, I used to have a CPA before I started working with Tom, and he was excited when we could qualify for like a $6,000 deduction for having a home office. And when I met Tom, we were paying almost $1 million in tax, and he helped us go from $985,000 to zero, now 4 years in a row, okay? So one of the things that Tom taught me is don't ask if it's deductible, ask how can this be deductible? Or another way to think about this is what circumstances need to exist in order for this to be deductible? Whether it's a meal, a vehicle, a airplane flight, a trip somewhere, there are things that you can do to make that a deductible business expense, okay? So hopefully, like for me, that's always a really, really big takeaway. Now, I want to make sure, can everybody see the slide that's up there? My own team, can we see that? So I know Jen, my beautiful wife, went through this, but we're no way near being finished. And what's coming up next is we're going to have my good friend Robert Helms come on, and he's the host of the Real Estate Guys radio show, one of the leading podcasts out there for real estate investors. And Robert's going to talk about, well, I'm not going to tell you what he's going to talk about. You're going to have to stay tuned to listen to Robert. So, hey, Robert, are you here?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can. And Robert, after Robert, we're going to have my beautiful wife, Jen, and she's going to talk about 2 or 3 things that are extremely powerful, things that hopefully will move the needle for you. And then I'm going to play an interview that I just did with Emmett Smith. So it's me and Emmett back and forth for about 23 minutes, precisely 23 minutes, asking Emmett about winning, about being a champion, about habits, about what it takes to get to that elite level, and some kind of off-the-cuff questions as well. So stay tuned for that. And then when that's all said and done, I'm going to stay on with my wife, Jen. We're going to go backstage. And look, we're going to talk about, like, some things that we're going to pull back the curtain, with the people that have the VIP tickets. We're going to pull back the curtain. We're going to talk about what it takes to work together as a couple. So this is applicable for anybody that's out there looking to do, real estate deals with their spouse. And it's even applicable if you are doing this with a business partner, okay? Because essentially your business partner is like your business spouse, okay? And you're going to have to figure out how to, divide and conquer or work together or not step on each other's toes. And so me and Jen are going to talk about how we do that in business and in life backstage. And we're also going to talk about some challenges, that we have and continue to have. So look, I just want to encourage you, if you haven't yet made the investment to spend a little bit of extra time with me and Jen personally backstage, I want to invite you to do so at this point in time. So Sumrock team, if we could put that link back up in the YouTube chat, in the I was going to say in the Zoom chat, but all the people in Zoom already made that investment. Congratulations to you VIPs. You guys rock, and you guys are going to love the VIP session. So I want to invite everybody else to join us into that session. And Robert, you ready to roll?
I'm ready to roll.
All right, let's go. And let's give it up for my good friend, Robert Helms. Let's go.
Hey, all right. Oh, my goodness. Well, it's so good to have you all here. And, a couple things happened on the way to the dance, right? This happens a lot. There's challenges in life. So we all tuned in to watch the broadcast and boom, something happened. This is exactly what happens in life. You set off on a path, and then before you know it, the whole world changes. And you're here tonight, I'm guessing, because you want to learn how to get to six figures in 6 months. I'll tell you what, a lot of folks in the Sunrock system have not only done it, they've done better than that. So the first thing is, it's possible. It's possible because over the many years that I've known Brad and Jen, I've seen their students do it. It's my favorite thing, what we call evidence of success, proof of concept, the fact that someone else has been there and done it before you. So that's the good news. Now, what Brad's asked me to cover is how you can go bigger faster. And that fits nicely into trying to get to six figures in 6 months. Now, let's just address this. Some of you already make six figures. Okay, are you making six figures in your real estate business? Or are you working hard like Brad did for all those years, making six figures and trying to eke out a real estate investment portfolio on the side? Possible to do that, but at some point, one of the realities is you just need to go full time. Now, not everyone's ready to go full time, and you're going to meet a lot of folks in the Sunrock system that have other jobs, other businesses, like Tom Wheelwright, lots of employees, lots of people working. This may be where you are, but I'm going to guess that a lot of you that are watching, that's not where you're at. You're just getting started. We have a big radio audience, and they're now in our 26th year of broadcast, and most of our listeners only own a couple of properties. Some don't own anything at all. And then we've got a lot of listeners that own lots and lots and lots of properties. But here's what you have to decide. What is next for you? Where is it that you want this to take you? Six figures in 6 months is moving quickly. Most people aren't going to do it. If you made it this far into the masterclass, you're not most people, right? You were willing to set aside 3 hours in a weeknight. You were willing to get the kids taken care of or whatever you had to do to focus here. And that has already set you apart. So what I want to do is share with you exactly what syndication means. Brad certainly touched on a lot of it and what you can do to get yourself into that position. And then the most important thing are the things that will get you from where you are right now to that next level, whatever that level is for you. Like Tom, I've been able to watch Brad and Jen grow their business and continue to develop themselves and invest in their future. And so they are role models in many ways for that. But let's start at the beginning. Most people who invest in real estate will only ever own property in their own account. Doesn't mean it's in their own name. That's a story that we could say for another day, but meaning that they put the down payment down, they qualify for the loan, they own the property, it's all on them. And that's how most mom and pop real estate investors operate and always will. The next level, though, is when you have more deals than you have wallet, right? You get deployed. You put those down payments down, like Brad's first 32-unit apartment building, and then he was able to get a 30-unit apartment building, and then he was about tapped out. But guess what happened? By then he had the bug. He was into it. He was getting good at it. He was managing the manager. He saw the cash coming in. You heard him say $4,000 to $5,000 a month regularly. Now you have two buildings doing that. What do you want? A third. The third was a bigger building, so much bigger. And this is a key. You've heard him say it a couple times. You've got to go bigger. And I know your self-talk is wrestling with that. Bigger is easier. 30 units is tough. 32 units, those are tough. Those were tough deals. Now, those were Brad's first deals. And he was doing it all. He was putting down that big old down payment. He was earning money on a job he obviously didn't love that much. But he was getting educated, and he was getting around people that were doing it. And little by little, sure enough, boom, 30 units, 32 units, 60 plus units to start. And it was just a start. Now, thousands of units later, it's easy to say, oh, well, yeah, but that's Brad, that's Jen. Look at what they do. No. They started maybe even in a worse position than you. So the point of that is you start wherever you are right now and you set your target. The third deal that Brad did, he didn't have the money for. So he had to do what we love to teach, and that is acquire the efforts of others. Now think about this. When you have a single family house that somebody rents from you, you've acquired the efforts of others. The people that live in that house get up every day and they go to work, not for you, for somebody else, and they send a big chunk of their income to you to pay the mortgage and the expenses and some profit for you. So that's the good part of real estate. What we do in syndication is even bigger than that because we multiply the efforts of others. There are far more people out there with money to invest who would like exposure to the apartment space and are not going to spend 3 hours on a master class. They're not going to come for 3 days to rat race to retirement like you are. They aren't going to put in the effort. What they're going to do instead is they're going to partner with somebody like you to invest. And that way you get to harness the efforts of other people. If it's all on your shoulders, that's a difficult track. You can do it. And over a lifetime of investing in real estate, you might get a couple dozen doors. But if you'll approach syndication as a business, and Brad always calls it an apartment business, not an apartment building, because it runs like a business, now the whole world opens up from you. You never again have to look at your bank account to decide whether or not you can do a real estate deal. That goes away when you embrace syndication. So syndication is harnessing the efforts of others. Some people bring the deal. Brad talked about that. Some people bring the analysis skills. Some people bring the relationships. Some people manage the management. Some people talk to the investors about the money. Investing at this level is a team sport. But an important thing happens when you cross the line from I'm investing in my own account to I'm raising money to do bigger deals. As soon as you do that, a host of things happen. First of all, you now need to step up and be a good steward of the money. And people will say all the time, oh yeah, I'll treat it as good as I treat my money. Oh, no. You need to treat it better than you treat your own money. You'll do stupid stuff with your money. You don't believe me? Go out to the garage when this is over and look around at all the stuff that you bought that seemed like a good idea that's out there collecting dust. No, you can't treat it like your money. You have to treat it so much better than your money. So that's the first thing, is to recognize you're a steward of other people's money. That is a sacred responsibility. The next thing that happens is the whole legal system around investing in real estate just changed. All of a sudden, we are dealing with securities law. Now, that is not meant to scare anybody away. I promise you, if I can do it, if Brad can do it, if a lot of the folks that are watching tonight who have already done it can do it, you can do it. It just means you have to learn. And that's why you have to get your mind set to go ahead and learn these skills, hang around people that are doing it, get better education. Those are the things you have to do to get to the position where you can raise lots and lots of money to do deals. Again, most people are not wanting to be the general partner, the deal sponsor, the promoter. Most people want to hand their money to someone who will make the return. And this could be you. Now, before we just leave everyone behind who's thinking, well, I'm on this because I want to passively invest. Nothing wrong with that. Of the 3 ways to invest in real estate, it's the easiest one. Brad and Jen still passively invest. Tom passively invests. I passively invest. It's a great way to invest because you get exposure to a market or a product type or an operator you might not otherwise be able to have exposure to. So nothing wrong with investing that way. You're not going to 10x, at least not quickly, and you're probably not going to get 6 figures in 6 months unless you started with 6 figures. You might get another 6 figures, right? So it's not saying that passive investing is wrong or bad. In fact, if you come to the R2R event in May, you're going to learn a lot if you're a passive investor. Many of the people that attend Rat Race to Retirement are passive investors. But if you're really serious about going bigger faster, that's when you put on the hat of the active investor, of the general partner, which means you're kind of the orchestra conductor. You're bringing all the pieces in. You don't have to do everything. Tom talked about how it actually gets easier when you have more people and you do bigger deals, and it really does get easier, but you do have to organize it. Now, the great news, you don't have to figure all that out. All that's been figured out. Now, I'm excited about the May event because it's the culmination of years of Brad teaching Rat Race to Retirement. But I will tell you that back in the day, it was just Brad for 16 hours. I've attended many times, and the first time I attended, I was blown away at how much seat knowledge Brad has. What do I mean by that? There's head knowledge. That's what we learn from reading books and listening to podcasts, which I hope you do, and tuning into webinars and master classes. And then there is seat knowledge. That's time in the saddle, actually doing the thing. And what I instantly figured out when I heard Brad do the first day of Rat Race to Retirement all those years ago was that this guy knows his stuff. He knows exactly what's going on in every bit of the business. It doesn't mean he's doing the work. I know people think, well, 200 units, gosh, I have to paint them and clean them and then interact with the tenant. You don't do any of that. In fact, you can't. It's not possible in almost every instance for you to do that work because your lender is going to require competent third-party management. How do you find that? Well, that's exactly what Brad's going to talk about over the 3 days. And you'll meet some of those folks up close and personal. Ask your questions at the breaks. That's what's great about getting in a live room with a lot of people. Now, there is a virtual option in case you're still stuck in a place that you can't get out of. But if you want to come live, that's always the best because you can get those conversations at the breaks and over lunch and so on. But back to the legal side. This is, again, not meant to scare you away. By the time you leave R to R, you'll have all of this figured out. But it's important. It's important because of the stewardship of the money. The deal has to be strong. I'm going to assume that either you right now have good opportunity for deal and deal flow and folks that can bring you deals, or you're going to be able to find that relatively easy in the Sunrock ecosystem. It's not going to be incumbent on you to sniff out under every rock to find every deal. Brad talked about how rates are up to, the fours when they used to be in the threes. The best money right now in real estate is for multifamily. That's it. The best money at the lowest rate is in multifamily because it's an asset class all the lenders want. Now, I'll also tell you, with all these folks interested in the program tonight and the class coming up in May, there's a lot of competition for deals. So you can't rely on the experience you have right now to really get you in front of the right deals. That's where you need to try. That's where you need to get around the right folks. And the legal side, although it's critically important, it's also easy to learn. I don't think anyone was born a natural syndicator. When Brad was born, the doctor didn't go, oh yeah, this one's going to be a general partner. I don't think so. I think it's all learnable. Everything you need to know is learnable. One of the big skills you're going to need to learn or have someone on your team is how to talk to people about investing, how to raise capital. It sounds daunting. You might be thinking, well, I'm not a salesperson and I'm not good at that. It's a learnable skill. And the better your deals perform, the less selling you're going to have to do. You get to a point, this will happen to you, where as long as you stay on the course and you keep heading in the right direction and you get better and you get the feedback and you learn and you do it again, as long as you stay on the path, you will get to a point in your syndication and real estate investing business where you actually turn people away. Meaning, say you need to raise $3 million, you have $7 million of investment chasing you down. That's going to happen. Now, I know you're thinking, I want to have that problem, but Brad can tell you it is a real problem. I remember once we did a presentation about a deal we were doing in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we were raising $3.1 million. And I like to do those in a live setting so that we can answer lots of questions and it's very efficient too. Instead of having a whole bunch of meetings, we could do one meeting. Well, 2 days later, I'm in my office and I hear my assistant outside the office in let's just say a heightened state of discussion. There's a gentleman there, a client of ours, who is not happy. And he's not happy because he showed up with all of his documents and his cashier's check. And my assistant is explaining, gosh, I'm sorry, we're full. We've already completely funded the deal. There's no room left. He was not happy about it. So I know it sounds great that you're going to be able to overfund your deals, but just understand it's one more thing that's a reality of this business. Now, the good news about that is you're also going to learn ways to handle that exact problem as soon as you start hanging out with other investors who are doing the thing. Jim Rohn said you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And if you're spending time with people that go to more ball games and concerts, then you're going to go to more ball games and concerts. We become our peer group. If you want to up the ante, then just change the people you're spending time with. I'm not saying leave your friends for the sideline, but rather than spend a weekend with them, spend a couple of hours and spend the weekend around other like-minded real estate entrepreneurs that are going places. This is the key to success. It is rare air, but The ladder of success is only crowded at the bottom. That's where the crowd is. Up at the top, it's not. And the best thing about syndication, Brad hit on this already, is the people that you're helping. Certainly the tenants and the families that have a clean, safe, affordable place to stay, you're helping those folks. But you're also helping those passive investors that literally would be lost without you. What else could they invest in? Go through the paperwork and the hassle of qualifying for a loan and their income. They just don't want to do that. If instead they can give the ball to you and you can, as a good steward, send that money out into the market and have it come back with friends, then you are building a business for life. It's the best business in real estate. First of all, apartments, about the best asset class within real estate. Secondly, syndication has no cap, no ceiling on your income. Those two things together make it so compelling, which is why we're all so excited about it. The big but is that it takes time to learn, not a ton of time. Our motto at the Real Estate Guys is education for effective action. But our favorite thing to do is collapse timeframes. When Brad told me the name of this masterclass, 6 months to six figures, I'm like, yes, that's collapsing timeframes. See, if Brad can take what it's taken him 20 years to learn and teach it to you in 3 days, like that is the biggest bargain there is. When you read a book, that author's taken months, years out of their life, researching, analyzing, refining ideas, and all that's presented to you in a book you can read in a week. Oh my gosh, that book is worth so much more than you could ever pay for it. And it's the same with all education that works. Meaning education that you just learn something and go, yeah, now I know more. I can be more impressive at cocktail parties. That's not for you. It's education that you do something with. So I am super excited for you. I'm super excited to have Emmett Smith on in a minute. And I'm really excited about Rat Race to Retirement. Brad and Jen have expanded the format to 3 days, and that extra day is awesome. Plus, you will be surrounded by people who are going places in their life. Too many people today are complaining about everything that's wrong. Negative Nelly in the cubicle next to you. All these people are just complaining. This is not for you. Instead, take the ball. You're being invited to attend a 3-day event that is going to be awesome. I know because I've been at it many times, and your life could change. It could literally be one of those dates with destiny. I hope so. I hope to see you there, and I appreciate your time tonight. Let's send it back to the apartment king, Brad Sumrock.
Robert Helms, man, I just love listening to Robert. His voice just drives me in. And man, if I could show you the cameras, like we have like a whole production team here and in my living room here in Dallas, and I'm sitting on the sideline taking notes from Tom, taking notes from Robert. But hey, I want to mention Rat Race again. That's coming up May 13th, 14th, and 15th. And here's the deal. What's going to come up next is my beautiful wife, Jen, is going to come up. And she's going to talk about 2 or 3 key things that I think are really going to move the needle for you. You know, we were just talking about it when Robert was up. And I'm really excited for her session. And then what's going to happen is I had the amazing opportunity to interview Emmett Smith. Okay, so I see some comments that my voice is, how's the sound doing? Check, check, 1, 2, check, check, 1, 2. It says there's an echo. But here's the deal. So let me recap again what's going to happen in May. So this event is May 13th, May 14th, and May 15th. This is me going to be teaching you my proven process on how to find deals, on how to analyze them once you find them, how to make effective offers to get your offer to the top of the stack to be selected by the seller, okay? We're going to talk about how to close deals. We're going to talk about deal structure, on how to structure deals between co-GPs. One of my favorite sayings these days is go down the rabbit hole. And I'm going to go deep down that rabbit hole on all those topics, okay? So as a direct result of you attending May 13th, 14th, and 15th, you're going to walk away with a very good understanding of knowing exactly what it takes and when to do it. See, the sequence is important, okay? You know, my mentor, Tony Robbins, always talks about sequence. You know, it's a big difference saying the dog bit Johnny versus Johnny bit the dog. And so not only do you need to know what to do, but you need to know when to do it. And so that's what's going to happen at Rat Race. Robert Helms will be there in person. Tom Wheelwright will be there in person. And again, Tom's session is designed in the May event to save you $35, $10, $20, $30, $40,000 in his 75-minute session that he's going to have. But the rest of the event is going to be taught by me. Now, one thing I didn't mention is those of you that want to invest in the Platinum experience, listen up here. My birthday is May 14th. The event is going to be May 13th, 14th, and 15th. For the Platinums, also May 16th. Some people might think I'm crazy for doing this event on my birthday. But let me just tell you something. There's nothing I'd rather be doing. There's no place I'd rather be. And there's nobody I'd rather be with than the people that are investing 3 or 4 days of their life to learn what it is that I do, because this is what my life is all about. It's moving the needle for people that want to invest in apartments, okay? So this is how I would love to spend my birthday, and I'll be celebrating my birthday all 3 days with each and every one of you, whether you're in the room in person or whether you're here virtually. But here's the thing that I haven't announced yet. Those of you that invest in the Platinum ticket, during this 3-day event, we're going to have a party just with me and all of the Platinum ticket holders. So that's right, the Platinums, not only do you have a bonus day 4, not only do you have the best seating in the house, not only do you have a priority registration table, not only do you have a special lunch on day 1 and 2 with me and some of my teammates, but you are going to be invited to a special birthday party with me during the event. And so if you can do it, let's get those Platinum tickets. Here's the QR code again. Platinum $599, general person in the room in Dallas $199, virtual from the safety and security and convenience of your home $99. Jay and Sunrock team, you want to make sure we have this link up in the Zoom meeting and the YouTube page. And it will be my honor, my privilege, and my pleasure to mentor you for 3 days here in Dallas, Texas. Now what I want to do is I want to bring up the person I love the most in this world, my beautiful wife, my friend, my lover, my business partner, my beautiful bride. Let's bring up and give a very warm welcome to Jen Sumrock. Let's go. Woohoo!
Thank you. Thank you. All right. How's it going, everybody? Can you hear me good? If you can hear me good, give me some thumbs up. Oh, I love the hearts. Thank you. Wow, I'm so excited to be here. And Brad is so awesome. I love this guy. I mean, can you just feel his passion? I mean, who throws a work event on their birthday to hang out with everybody? I mean, can you tell this is this thing he loves to do the most?
I'm crazy, but I love doing this stuff.
Yes, we could have done it any time of the year. But we are definitely going to be celebrating Brad's birthday. But why don't we also make it a celebration for your birthday, a birth to your new life, right? A birth, follow the process, follow your commitment, and give birth to your new life, 6 figures in 6 months. You can do it. It takes belief. And some of you might be thinking, like, can I really do this? How many people are out there, like, oh, I've been trying and it's hard, or, and just listen to yourself. And I just want to talk about that a little bit today, because I remember the day when I first went to my first event that was for personal growth, and I wanted a different life. And I was struggling at the time, and I was working really hard, and I'm reading all these books. I'd fall asleep at night with like 5 or 6 books. Anybody fall asleep with 5 or 6? You're trying to read 5 at the same time. You're so excited about all these books. And yeah, and I'm like, okay, I'll just get it while I'm sleeping and come back and read a chapter here, read a chapter there. I even had somebody say, oh, I hope all that personal growth shit gets you far. And I just remember that to this day. And I use it as a happy trigger because it did. It actually got me really far. And you know, you can only go so far on your own and with books. It's exciting, but when you get into a place where you're in an environment surrounded by other like-minded people, I mean, that's when you go on fire. It's like now everything that you were excited about, but we're still sort of struggling because you're kind of there by yourself. You're reading this, you're excited about it, but you don't know exactly, you're still trying to work into the new habits, the new you, right? The birth of the new you, your new life. And I didn't even realize the power of being at an event around other people. I didn't even know there was people like this that love it, you know? So like I go to my first event, and it was a Tony Robbins event back in 2004, and you know, it blew my mind. But I decided that the friends that I was hanging out with, if they were not lifting me up, and if it wasn't getting me to my new life, that I would love them, but I would have to say no. Like, I'm not going to spend every weekend just because they're fun and they're going to make me feel good in the moment. It's just not going to get me there, right? So you got to take ownership and decide. Let me look at where am I spending my time today? You know, what am I telling myself? Who am I hanging out with that's telling me things that might not be serving me, right? I mean, there's a lot of people that think going to events is crazy, waste of time, waste of money, but they don't even know. They don't even know. Like, did you ever see somebody that's like, oh, I heard this, and they say something bad about something? It's like, did you even try it yourself? Why are you? Okay, so that's a whole nother thing. But I'm just here to say that believing in yourself that you can do it is so powerful. And this really worked for me, and maybe it'll work for you too. I mean, if you have a mirror where you brush your teeth at night, you know, write some empowering words, stick them on your mirror, so when you're brushing your teeth in the morning, brushing your teeth at night, I am this, I am that. I want you to believe in yourself. It might sound corny as hell, I know. But this is what I did. It worked for me. I'm visually looking at myself in the mirror with these positive affirmations around me. Because I was beating myself up my whole life, calling myself stupid. If I mess up on something, I'm such an idiot. I can't believe I did this. Does anybody ever do this? I mean, these were the words that were, you know, or then like, man, it sounds good, but I don't know if I can do it. They're smarter than me. You know, like all of these things. And it adds up. And it can keep you in a bad place and prevent you from getting to where you want to go. So number one, I really want you to believe in yourself. You can do it. And I want to share a story about Brad, because some of you might be like, well, I believe in me. I just don't know if I believe in Brad. And I actually met Brad. Some of you know this story, but we actually met. We were volunteering at a Tony Robbins event. And that was exciting. I had been volunteering for years. I actually love learning environments. So I went and worked for free for many of my mentors. And I loved to create environments and inspire people. So I'd be talking behind the scenes and, you know, just uplifting people. And just, it's contagious, right? When you feel good, you know you can help someone else and they feel good, it feels good, right? And I just love positive people that love to learn. So I met Brad, and I was like, I could just see his passion. I could see how he's helping everybody, you know. And I was like, man, I love being in learning environments. Like, we should do this. You have this amazing skill set. And so we launched this company together to help other people, and it's been an amazing ride. And he doesn't even like to just help people with apartments. Like, people are like, he does the keto thing. How many people tried the keto diet or some kind of diet and failed? So he had been trying diets for many years, and then finally he was successful with this keto diet. I know it's not for everybody, but he was excited. He got the result. And he was so excited he wanted to share it. He's telling the community, hey, anybody who wants to do it, let's do it together, you know? I mean, he's not making any money. He's not doing this for money. You see the passion. You see how he's doing these events on his birthday. He wants to have a big party with everybody. He's definitely a people person, loves to connect, and he's very outcome driven. And so it's exciting. And just like Robert said, you become like the 5 people you hang out with the most. You start to, this kind of energy is contagious, you know? And so the people that are in our group, we fall in love with each other. We fall in love with how we're watching each other grow and taking action, and we're helping each other. And that's a key part, you know, just having that support system. And yeah, so you might go home and or you might be at home learning, and somebody else that's in your home might not even believe in it yet. And so, you know, but stand strong in your own commitment to yourself, because what I believe is the one that's the most certain in their belief will succeed. So if you let anyone put any kind of doubt or fear into you, it's like poison to me. It's like poison. If that person is giving me self-doubt, I'm gonna come back with my suit of armor of certainty and be like, no, I believe in myself. I know I can do this. And I got the support system. I'm all plugged in. I'm ready to go. And then you watch, you know. Now I got eyeballs on me, and I'm going to go prove it, right? Prove it to myself and prove it to everybody around me. And then when I do it, guess what? Other people around me go, holy shit, she did it. Now, she was right. Like, that shit works. Like, now I want to do it, right? Like, how many people around you, when you start doing something, they want to do it too? And then some people are like, man, I should have got started 3 years ago. You know, we got people in the group that, like, their friends are watching them, and then after they're like, oh shit, 5 years later, they're like building up all this stuff, and now they're like, man, I want in. I can't believe I watched you for 5 years. What took me so long, you know? But we just get caught up. We just get caught up in, you know, self-talk or just our life, right? It's never convenient. I'm sorry, but you don't just sit around and convenience. Getting rich and creating a better life for yourself isn't convenient, okay? It's a personal journey, right? We grow. And when we grow, it's not a straight line, and it's not straight up. And yes, we're going to overcome some, you know, bad habits, bad thoughts. But I just want to encourage you guys today to put some empowering statements on your mirror. Believe in yourself. Believe in the process. When you come to the event, you'll see there's so many people that have followed Brad's proven process, and it's exciting to hear their stories. I'm sure there'll be several people there happy to share them, and we always encourage that. If you're here now with us and you have some success, you know, we'd love to just hear you can chime in there and talk about how it's changed your life. And I see Ruth on here and Crystal Lee, and you know, there's several people here that, you know, they've taken action and believe in the process, and they believe in themselves, and they're rock stars. I mean, all of you guys are rock stars, you know? So I just wanted to share that with you, because to me the belief is so strong, and I really, really want to invite you to come be with us in person at the event, because I know how much in-person events have changed my life, and I really want it to impact you in your life. And of course, I met this guy there. That was a bonus. And we love doing this journey together. It's not work for us, it's play. We don't have to do this, but this is, I mean, I was working for free for all my mentors before I met him. I'm like, dude, I feel like I've been in training to meet you, to go do this thing. Like, this is so fun and so cool. And I could share my manifesting processes with you guys another time, because that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I've done the really cool stuff, and it all starts with the belief in you. And so I just want to leave you tonight to let you know that I believe in you. Please believe in yourself, and please come join us. And yeah, I'm excited for you guys. So it'll be a birthday for everybody.
Let's give it up for Jen. She's rocks. I love her.
Love you. Love you too.
And hey, look, and when you come in May, you know, yeah, look, I'll be honored and humbled to mentor you for 3 days. But look, when you come, you're not just getting me, you're getting Jen. You know, and Jen brings a whole nother dimension to the training. So she'll be on the stage, sharing the stage with me, dropping some more content, some more information. but she'll also be there, in the room, and she'll be there at the registration, and she'll be there on the breaks. So, one of Jen's passions is just genuinely connecting with people. And so when you come in May, and even with that virtual ticket, Jen, you'll go backstage virtually too to connect with some of the virtual folks. So I know you all want to come and learn from me, but make sure you also, I think now you're probably going to want to come and see Jen more than you want to come and see me. But I'm totally cool with that. I'm totally okay with that. So let's give it up for Jen again.
Oh, thanks you guys, Elaine, Rima.
All right.
Love you guys. Bye.
Yeah. So, when Jen was speaking, there's just something I want to share, and then we're going to go to my interview with Emmett Smith. Look, I'm going to level with you. It ain't always easy. There's stuff that you got to do sometimes you don't want to do. And let me just tell you where I'm at right now on April 20th. I've been traveling like a banshee. I mean, for those of you that follow me, we're in Dallas today in our apartment that we rent out. We run our companies out of Dallas. Yesterday I was in Austin in the morning and for lunchtime, and then I was in Dallas speaking at another event last night. And before that, Monday night, I was also in Austin. And before that, I was at our beach house in Tampa. And 2 days before that, I was in LA speaking at an event. And before that, in LA, I was in Ventura County. And maybe some of you saw me there. And before that, I was at San Diego that me and Jen paid $30,000 to attend a 2-day event so we could be around 9-figure business owners, so we could learn how we could be 9-figure business owners. See, we're 8 figures, but we want to be 9 figures. And so it's been a little challenging and it's been a little exhausting. And then between that, we've refinanced our house. And I'm buying a deal right now, a $51 million deal, and we flew to Nashville to look at that deal. So look, I'm not saying it's always easy, but what I am saying is this: I'm not anything special, okay? And this is setting the stage for the interview that I had with Emmett Smith. Because look, it's not always easy, but the thing that separates the winners from the pretenders are passion, drive, commitment, work ethic. And look, it's transferable across different things. How do you think Emmett was able to be a Super Bowl champion? Be a rusher for 13 years. I mean, in the NFL, running backs' average career is like 3.2 years. Emmett was a leading rusher, for 13 years with the Dallas Cowboys. He made the Hall of Fame. He's a 3-time Super Bowl champion. Then he went on to do Dancing with the Stars, and I asked him why he did that. Well, he'll tell you why he did that, okay? But he wanted to reach more people, the women and children that maybe didn't pay attention to the NFL. But the one thing you'll learn is that the things that make you successful in one thing make you successful in something else. So, it's not always easy. You don't always feel like doing things you want to do, and for me personally, sometimes I don't feel like doing some of the things that I got to do. But I know that if I just put in that extra effort, I'm going to have a quality of life that most people, including myself, can only dream of. And that's what we've been able to achieve. And I'd love to have you have the same type of life that me and Jen have. And that's why I love teaching so much, because this is the way I can move the needle for people the most. So, hey, Ruth, I appreciate your comments. I see you in the VIP room, and all the things that you've achieved since 2019, where we met at Tony Robbins, as a GP in over 2,000 doors, and all the confidence that you have. Thank you so much, Ruth, for trusting me, for coming, making that leap of faith. And look, for some of you that get on a plane and come to Dallas and invest 3 days of your life, it's a leap of faith. But look, I ain't going to let you down. You're going to be in good hands. Me and my team care deeply about your success, because here's the deal: your success is my success. I've been investing in apartments for 20 years, but I've been teaching people how to do what I do for over a decade, okay? And I wouldn't be in business today if I didn't have a track record of success. So let that sink in for a minute. And your success is going to be my success. So for those of you that take that leap of faith, invest 3 days of your life, you're going to be in good hands, and me and my team are going to take good care of you, and you're going to walk away with so much more than you bargained for. So with that, are you guys ready to play the Emmett video? So here's the deal. This was a live interview I did with Emmett yesterday. I was in a hotel room in Austin, Texas, okay? And I interviewed Emmett for 23 minutes, and it covers the gamut from football to winning to Dancing with the Stars to what it takes to be a champion and why he chose real estate, who some of his mentors were and still are. And here's the deal. Emmett's going to be live on my stage in May in Dallas, and you don't want to miss this. I mean, Emmett's an all-star in all areas of life. And if you're not going to get anything else out of this event, you're going to get a lot from Emmett Smith personally. All right. Well, I'm really excited to be here with this super, super special guest, Emmett Smith, and we all know who he is. Entrepreneur, Hall of Famer, football player, record setter, Dancing with the Stars winner. Hey, Emmett, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Man, I'm really super excited to have you today and to just share with us a little bit about your journey from like all the things you've accomplished, you know, from a very long football career, being an entrepreneur, and even doing Dancing with the Stars. But like, so how do you maintain like this drive and focus to accomplish all those things like for such a long period of time, man?
But Brad, you know, it has been a journey. And one thing I've learned about life is a journey, and all things, if you truly believe that all things do work together, then you just continue to not quit, continue to fight, and continue to persevere through all kinds of obstacles. And when you look up, you're going to find that the journey that you're on was clearly a pathway that leads you to your destiny. And whatever that might be, I've always been a guy that's passionate and been driven towards that passion just by my love for whatever it is that I'm trying to accomplish, whatever it is I'm trying to learn. And for me, football was the catalyst, was the vehicle that pricked my interest first. And obviously has taken me a lot further than I ever thought it would ever take me. But beyond that, football has been a vehicle to open me up to, and my eyes up to other entrepreneur things that exist in the world. And so I've learned throughout the process itself that that process does not change, no matter whether it's sports, no matter if it's life, no matter if it's family, no matter if it's business. The work ethic, the love, the passion, and all the things that you need to do to take care of something that you absolutely are passionate about remains the same. It does not change. If you are driven towards something, then there isn't much that can stand in your way to stop you from doing it. If you're passionate about something, you won't quit as easily. But oftentimes people are given some things and they don't have the passion for it. And when things get hard, the first thing they do is give up. And all they do is just repeat that cycle over and over and wondering why they're not as successful as the next person. It's only because of their view of what they are seeing, their passion for what they're trying to get accomplished. And it just might not be for them. And I'm just grateful that I learned a lot of valuable key lessons throughout this whole entire process. And one of the things I've learned and appreciate the most is the process. And I was afforded that opportunity to reflect over my life in 2010 when I was been enshrined into the Hall of Fame. Got a chance to write my speech, my life story. And in that life story, I saw so many people that had poured into me and helped shape me into the man I became, that someone told me I think over 100 some odd people.
Wow.
So it truly takes a village to raise a child. And you see me as a 52-year-old man, but still that village of people that have raised me, some are still here, some have passed on, but what they left is a legacy with me that I can pass on to others. And to me, that's what keeps me driven. is to maximize my true potential every day of my life.
That's incredible. I was taking notes. I know I'm supposed to be interviewing you, but I'm taking notes because I don't want to miss it. There was so much good in there. Could I go down that rabbit hole a little bit?
Go right ahead.
Yeah, you mentioned like passion and work ethic and process, and it's so interesting because, like, you know, when you're driven to do something, like, you don't always know how you're going to do it, right? I mean, talk about like the how. Like, for me, the how is the least important thing. It's about that drive. It's about that commitment. It's about that passion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you mentioned like some of the people that have touched you. And I know one of the things I was going to ask you later was like, who are some of the people that have impacted you the most? And we'll go off script here a little bit if that's okay. But like, going in from football to business, like, how did you do that? Like, and did you have mentors? Did you have people that guided you along the way? And what did you learn from them?
Of course. I think you have to go to what pricked your interest in business first. And for me, that happened back when I was 11 years old. And my Pop Warner coach, Charlie Egger, taught me how to read blueprints and floor plans. And I come to realize that he was more than just a football coach. Like most people would come to realize that I'm more than just a football player. And through that process of learning what he did for a living, inspired me to want to do something beyond the game. And what I found out was he owned his own construction company and he was an entrepreneur himself. And the way that he was living, he built his own house and everything else. And I was like, wow, the way that they're living is completely different from the way I'm living. And I want to know what he knows. I want to do what he's doing. Just like I wanted to do what Roger Staubach was doing on the football field and Walter Payton was doing on the football field, I found somebody else that was doing something that was completely different than sports. And that was inspiring. I saw for the first time in my life that you can be successful beyond the game itself. And so obviously football, like I said, was the vehicle that led me to that place. And so football also opened doors to people like Walter Payton, people like Roger Staubach, people like Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan and Jerry Jones and other business people. And so through the process of playing the game itself, I started to realize that there's a whole nother world out there that's so much greater than the world which I'm playing and the world of sports and entertainment. It's called free enterprise. And everybody has an opportunity to get in free enterprise. And the question becomes, what service are you offering? And the service that I'm offering is no different than the next guy's, except for I want it to be better. I want it to be more personable. I want it to be quality. I want it to be high touch. I want it to be impactful. And I want it to be something that's different from that other guy. And so when you're working with a guy like Emmett Smith, you get more than just Emmett Smith, the football player. You get Emmett Smith, the entrepreneur. You get Emmett Smith, the service leader. You get Emmett Smith, the marketing guy. This ain't just a broker you get or a brokerage firm that you get. You get more than any other brokerage firm that you can possibly get, because everybody you don't want to go play golf with, everybody you don't want to have dinner with, and everybody don't have something to offer that someone else has. And so building relationships for me is beyond just the celebrity aspect of who I am. If I'm going to spend time with you, and time is the most important thing that I actually have, it's going to be something that has to be impactful. If it's not impactful, guess what? I'm going to move on to the next one. Because at the end of the day, I don't have a whole lot of time to waste with people that don't want to work with me. I really don't. So I'm going to keep it pushing. We're going to shake hands, and you know what? You may get your little autograph or your picture right here and there, but that might be the last thing you ever get from me, because it's more important, just like their time is valuable. I don't want to waste yours, and you shouldn't want to waste mine. So let's make it impactful when we speak, when we meet, and let's make it a memorable moment, if you will. And if there's some services that I offer that can help and assist you and your company to go to the next level, you're going to do those same service with someone else. Why not do them with me if I have the same qualifications?
I love it. I love it.
Hey, I think that leads into another topic that I want to explore. So all these things that you've done, you've not only done them at such a high level with high level competitors, but you've risen to the top. Like there's not that many people in the Hall of Fame, right? There's only one all-time rusher. There's only one winner each season of Dancing with the Stars, right? Like, so what do you think? What's that extra? Is there an extra edge that separates like the already high level competitor to the people that win? Like, what's your take on that?
You know, I really think that it is a mentality. It is beyond work ethic. I think it's something that's, you know, people look at celebrities and everyone else and they think that it comes easy because they see a finished product or a product. I like to tell people I'm a product in motion. In other words, I'm study evolving. I have yet to maximize my true potential, but I'm gonna give it everything that I have. And I'm not one of those guys, and I think most of the best competitors that you ever meet, they feel like they have not achieved the highest level of themselves yet. And they're constantly striving for a level of greatness or a level of perfection, knowing that it's unattainable. But it doesn't stop them or preclude them from working hard, being competitive, getting up every day, being driven to be the very best. Therefore, there's a chip that's sitting there or something on their shoulder saying, you're not done yet. You're not done yet. And they're never satisfied with where they are. They just always believe that there's more that they can do. And they have short-term memories because success, you got to have short-term memories because there's so many failures along the way. The problem is people don't see the failures, but it's the failures and it's the challenges where most of us go into the trenches to try and understand why, how, and let's not do that again. And you only let so many people into your life, into your world, into your circle. Because if you don't have the same mentality or the same passion or the same love for life itself and for the responsibility of helping others along the way, because this life that we have is to be shared, is not to be selfish with. It's to be shared in the context of helping others become the best version of themselves. And to whom much is given, much is required. And so at the end of the day, releasing a bird to fly is what we're called to do. Helping a bird fly is what we can do. But teaching someone how to fly is giving them the tools that they need to be successful. And they have to earn that through the process of work, the process of mentality, the process of commitment, and all the things that are required of one person to be successful.
That's awesome. So just never feeling like you've made it, right? Like just never resting on your laurels, never feeling like, hey man, I made it. Now I could relax. And like, do you ever feel like, and I think you went down that path with gratitude and everything, but like, so how do you balance that unsatiable desire to always achieve and never feeling like you've quite made it with being at peace with where you're at and being grateful for where you're at? Is ever a time where you feel that's a challenge with that?
Not really, because, you know, when I was a kid, I had a goal of becoming a professional football player. Well, in 1990, that happened. When that happened, I had achieved my childhood goal. And not only that, to go a little bit further, I played for the team that I always want to play for as a child, the Dallas Cowboys. So my goal was completed. But is that just the end goal? No, it's not. What do you want to do with that once you get here? Therefore, there's another goal to set. Because if my mentality was just to make it, well, hell, I just made it when I got drafted by the Cowboys. But my mentality was beyond that. What can I do to impact this team? So we're not 1-15 the year that I'm there. What can I do to impact this organization? What can I do to leave my mark on the game? So I set another level of goals. I wanted to become the all-time leading rusher in 13 years. I wanted to be a rookie of the year in 1990. I wanted to go to the Super Bowl. I wanted to win multiple Super Bowls. I wanted to be MVP. I set things up to where I can look at and monitor my progress. And once I got a taste of true victory, I wanted to be selfish with it. I wanted to do it every time. I wanted to go out every year and lead the league in rushing so no one else could, because I saw the correlation between leading the league in rushing and Super Bowls. Because you know what? We won 3 out of 4 Super Bowls. And those 3 out of 4 years, I led the league in rushing. So why wouldn't I not want to do that again if it led to Super Bowls? And so finding those kind of things that keep you motivated and to keep you wanting to work hard and to keep you humble in the context of, forgetting what I did year 1, let's move to year 2. Forget what the revenue was in year 1. Let's move to year 2. Forgetting what the revenue was in year 2. Let's continue to progress and move forward. Where are we missing? Where are the opportunities? Take the time to pause to evaluate where you are in the process.
I love it. I love it. What I heard you mention a little bit ago about, facing some challenges or some roadblocks and stuff like that. Like, obviously you've had some challenges, and like, how do you overcome them? And then the second question and with that is, have you ever really failed in anything? And like, what did you learn from that? Like, do you ever get afraid? Like, do you ever get afraid you're going to fail? Or like, when challenges come up in business and football or whatever?
Right. Right. Well, there's always a level of fear that's present, the fear of the unknown. But in order to turn the fear of the unknown to a known, you have to actually go through the situation first and foremost to remove that fear. In order to go through something, you have to come out on the other side of it and have it resolved. But it becomes part of your library of life, of experiences where you had to deal with something and yet you found a way to get through it. And those situations are constant reminders that you can, you will, and you shall overcome. As the word would say, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. The question is, how long are you willing to weep? And are you waiting for joy? Or are you pursuing joy? I like to pursue joy. Even though I'm a weep for a minute, but I do know that if I keep pursuing joy, there will be light at the end of the tunnel. I've never seen a cloudy day not followed by a sunny day. And so I'm striving for the sunny days, knowing that there will be cloudy days. But on the cloudy days, I just hope I have my raincoat and my umbrella so I'm not getting soaked and drenched. But if I happen to get soaked and drenched, when that sun comes out, at least I can go hang my clothes up and let them all dry off.
Hey, I'm sure that you get asked this question a lot, but what was harder, becoming the all-time leading rusher or winning Dancing with the Stars?
I think becoming an all-time leading rusher was the hardest because it took the longest. I had to endure 13 seasons in the National Football League. And that's winning, that's losing, that's been injured, that's having success, not having success, that's having folks believe in you, non-believers, et cetera, et cetera. And I dealt with men and systems that were trying to stop me and our team from being successful, which also created a different level of strength. We created other study habits and other things. But Dancing with the Stars was one of the most fun moments I've had. No doubt. It was 13 weeks, which is almost a football season. But the experience of being in an environment that I'd never been in before and having an impact in a way that I'd never had an impact before. But I could see the similarities between my sport and that dance and that ballroom. And the similarities is when you're good at what you're doing and you're able to invite people into the room and make them feel like they can do it too, you have provided the service that you wanted to provide. You have inspired others to get up off the couch, get into the game, and to participate in whatever it is that you're doing. And that's what Dance with the Stars afforded me the opportunity to do, to talk to moms and dads and daughters and sons and grandparents and give them a piece of me that they never otherwise would have seen on the football field. And it showed that I can go from one area of life to the next area of life that can be very challenging and learn something completely new. But with the proper attitude and the proper environment, mentally, physically, and emotionally, and with the tools that you currently have, you can make life work.
That's incredible. So that it's all about just taking what you've excelled at in one area and totally following a similar process, right?
But I've come to learn that there's a common thread in life and everything that we all do. And they're all fundamental. The things that make a person successful is taking the fundamentals of what they already know and building upon those building blocks of other things. In other words, if I'm in the real estate business and I'm just a residential developer or a residential salesperson, and I want to go into the commercial space, well, there's already fundamentals over here in the real estate residential that I already know. But there are some new things that I need to learn in the commercial space. And it may be commercial retail, then it may go to commercial office and commercial industrial, et cetera, et cetera. Those nuances is where you have the ability to learn. Now, if I want to go from real estate, brokerage services, and tenant rep business into the development business, well, it's still a real estate business, but there are some things that I need to learn from a developer perspective versus a user perspective. And so to me, it's about knowledge. It's about gaining wisdom, about getting into the trenches and learning something completely new. So the fundamentals never change. What changes is your perspective. If it stays the same, you're going to stay where you are. If it expands, you have the opportunity to grow.
And that's awesome. One final question. Why real estate? Like there could have been so many entrepreneurial pursuits. Why real estate?
Well, I think when people see others successful at what they're doing, they ask, why not me? The question is, do you have the same attributes that the person that you said, why not me to, or about? Do you have those similar attributes, or do you have attributes that may be a little bit greater? And for me, when I looked and I studied different industries, and I was looking for people that I knew in those industries, there was only certain industries that I had a lot of relationships in. And one of those was the real estate space. I mean, when you talk about Roger Staubach, I had developed a relationship with Roger Staubach since 1990.
Yeah.
And he owned his own real estate company called the Staubach Company. He sold it to Jones Lang LaSalle in 2008 for $770 million.
Yeah.
Then when you have a relationship with a guy like Magic Johnson, who was known as the urban developer back in the 90s, late 90s, and revamped a whole lot of urban communities, and you have a relationship with him, you understand that. When you have a relationship in the real estate business with other folks, and now you're having children, and you're going to these daddy-daughter dances and these Indian princesses, and you sitting around the campfire and you talking to folks, and you realize that I'm around some real estate business people. I'm around some financial people. I'm around some capital markets people. Heck, you right there. The network is there. The question is, are you paying attention? And is your heart being pricked to move in a way that you can be passionate about whatever it is that you're trying to do?
I love it, Emmett. Thank you so much. And just so you know, like there's going to be thousands of people watching this interview. So this interview is going to impact a lot of people, and we're going to be playing this live tomorrow. So thank you so much. And the people that are going to watch it are going to get so much value out of it. I did. And just really appreciate you taking the time and coming on with me this morning, and looking forward to seeing you in person in May at our event.
All right, my man. Good. Thank you, guys. Y'all be good.
All right. Thank you so muI'm
Hey, well, how was that? Let's give it up for Emmett. Man, that was awesome. So, you know, I'm going to level with you. I always get a little little nervous, you know, interviewing these like larger than life people. But one of the things that I found is I do that more and more often with Emmett Smith and Damon John and Grant Cardone and Robert Kiyosaki, Jesse Itzler, is that, you know, they're just like us. Like, and what separates them from like the average person is their willingness to learn. Like a couple things that stuck out when I was talking to Emmett, you know, is like he realized from the very beginning that there's this whole other world out there, you know, and he found people that were doing things that he wanted to do, whether he was 11 years old or whether he was a rookie football player and looking at Jerry Jones and Roger Staubach and what they were doing, or whether he was 11 years old and looking what he was, you know, his pops was doing and studying blueprints and stuff like that and coaching people and going into real estate, okay? And the key is that he was willing to learn, that he found people that were doing what it was that he wanted to do, that had the lifestyle and the things and the time and the money and the impact that he wanted to make. And so he followed in their footsteps. And here's the secret, and it's not a secret. Tony Robbins puts it out there in black and white. Success leaves clues. And so if you want to have the results that other people have, you need to do what they do. And look, is this up on the screen, Sumrock Tech team? Look, I want to mentor you. Like, we've achieved an amazing result over the last 2 decades. You know, our income is 7 figures from our apartments. Our net worth went from 700K to 70 million, and soon will be 9-figure net worth, which is totally mind-blowing. And I want to show you exactly how we did it. And this is what's going to happen in May. And this is the last opportunity that I've mentioned this a few times this evening. And some of you have taken advantage of the opportunity. And so let me just recap this again, and then we're going to wrap up. So, you know, I'm going to recap the invitation to come to train with me and Tom and Robert. And look, Emmett's going to be here. And here's the other thing I didn't tell you. Emmett's birthday is 1 day apart from mine. So mine's May 14th, and Emmett's birthday is 1 day apart from mine. And he's going to be at the event in person. So what Emmett's going to be doing is he's going to be speaking to the main stage. Okay, so whether you have a virtual ticket for $99, an in-person general ticket for $199, or that $599 platinum experience, everybody is going to get to experience Emmett Smith from the main stage. And then what's going to happen is Emmett is just going to spend another powerful session, 40 minutes, just with the platinums. Okay, so as a platinum ticket holder, not only do you have the best seats in the house, not only do you have a private registration area, not only do you have lunch on day 1 and 2 with me and my team, not only do you have a bonus day 4, not only are you going to be invited to my birthday party one of the evenings at the event, but you're going to have another 40 minutes just with Emmett and you as the platinum ticket holder. So that's what's going down. It'll be my birthday. It'll be Emmett's birthday. This is crazy. 2 Tauruses celebrating their birthday with all of you, either virtually or in person in Dallas, May 13th, 14th, 15th. Let me put that QR code up again. It'll be my honor and my privilege to mentor you for not 1 day, not 2 days, but 3 days. And for the platinum ticket holders, the bonus day 4. Here's the price points again. $599 platinum, $199 general admission, $99 virtually from the comfort and convenience of your home. Again, let me recap the bonuses. Number 1, any ticket level, I'm going to gift you my home study course. What this means is you'll be able to watch this 7-hour home study course before May 13th so that when you come to the event, you'll be hitting the ground running. You'll be familiar with a lot of the terminology and a lot of the concepts that I'm going to go further into starting on May 13th. Number 2, I'm taking away all the risk. Okay, there's no risk for you to attend the event because if it's not for you, I'm going to give you your money back. No questions asked. No questions asked. Number 3, we're going to have not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 mentoring sessions. Me and you that buy that ticket, that invest in that ticket, 3 of these sessions are going to be before the event. I'm going to get you prepared for the event. I'm going to get your goals set for the event. I'm going to get you dialed in and mentally focused for the event. You're going to know what to expect for the event. We're going to cover housekeeping for the event. You're going to be ready to roll. And then we're going to do a post-event implementation session to make sure that what I teach you at the event is actually implementable and executional. Is that a word? Executionable. Okay? So that's what we got. Here's the QR code one final time. And let me just say, look, for all the general admission people tonight, all the free ticket holders tonight, we're going to say goodbye. But it doesn't have to be goodbye because there's still one last opportunity for you to upgrade into the backstage session. So what's going to happen? Sumrock Tech team, put that link one more time for people to come backstage. Me and Jen are going to spend the next 30 minutes or so doing a couple of things. One is we're going to, honestly, we're going to just talk about how we work together. You know, we don't have a script. We don't have any slides. We're going to pull back the curtain and just talk to you about how we've successfully been married, how we're still in love, how we grow our business together, some of the challenges that we've had together. And this could be applicable to any of you that, you know, maybe you're doing this with your spouse or want to do this with your spouse, or maybe your spouse isn't that supportive, or maybe you have a business partner and you're constantly butting heads. I think you're going to get a lot of value out of this. All right? So give me 60 seconds. I'm going to wet my whistle and find a bottle of water. And me and Jen will be with you in 60 seconds or less. Everybody that's not in the backstage, grab your ticket. See you in May. Come on, let's go. Look, there's only 4 things you need to do to make 6 figures in 6 months. And the most important one is taking action now. Following a proven process is important. Doing bigger deals is important. And being on the GP team is important. So let's go and let's make it happen. Let me help you do this. It'll be my honor and my privilege and my pleasure to do this with you. All right? So Jen and I will be back in 60 seconds. Everybody that's not backstage, see you later. I hope to see you in May. And everybody that is backstage, give me 60 seconds and we'll be right here, same time, same place, same channel.